We welcome you to the knockout bracket of Stage 5 of the Call of Duty Challengers Elite Season, and more importantly, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome into the broadcast. I'm a Spaceman, that is Fox and Allie, and this is the conclusion of 6 months of hard work, but we're not quite in playoffs yet. We're going to get to that in some weeks' time. For today and tomorrow, we're sitting with Europe and North America, and we will crown respective champions for Stage 5. Today, all about knockout bracket gameplay, all of these teams fighting for their spot for the single elimination bracket tomorrow, where again, someone will walk away with their share of 20K, but we have to stick down here and see who qualifies first. Again, welcome to the broadcast, and I want to say hello to my wonderful commentators as always, Fox and Allie. Fox, welcome in, brother. It's been a bit of time since we all saw each other here on the broadcast. How you doing?
A whole 2 weeks, is that right? Like you said, 6 long months of hard work. I mean, not just from us, but the whole production crew, and especially the teams that we're going to watch competing tonight, all the way across the Atlantic Ocean in Europe. It's really been an exciting event to watch so far, and I'm looking forward to see what Elevate and War bring to us next.
And Allie, the action has already kicked off today, and we've seen a couple of matches on a side stream, but even then, I know that the tensions are high because this is the last season for Challengers Elite this year before we get to playoffs. What do you think's going through the mind of a lot of these players as they're playing in the knockout bracket with so many limited spots available going forward? Yeah, I 100% agree, but don't worry. I know Allie's got a lot to say, and I know that we're going to get to her in a moment. But before we get a little bit further, let's take a look at the bracket itself, because these are where the teams are playing, and this is what we actually care about, right? The knockout bracket means you got a double elimination system, but there's still just not enough time for all of these teams to make it through, so we got to send players home. Already, Team War won GCPW's matchup 3-0. They move on. Elevate was up 2-0. They get sent to Game 5, and they win a tough one, moving into round 2. We will start with winners round 2 in Europe, Team War versus Elevate, and everyone else who lost early will get dropped down to losers round 1. So GCPW, Belgium Power, congratulations, you guys still have a chance, but it's going to be tough. And now they will play. Winner of that moves in to losers round 2, and loser of winners round 2 drops down and plays the winner of losers round 1. So we keep kind of shifting things around, and yes, it's a weird amalgamation of teams, but regardless, these are the best in Europe in Season 5, and these are the best for a reason. Whoever wins Team War versus Elevate this series coming up will move into tomorrow's single elimination playoff bracket and fight for their chance at first place. We still got a couple of matches to go through here in Europe, and same situation with North America. Allie, looking at the bracket as a whole here, same kind of question. Team War and Elevate have started playing a little bit earlier today. They've won their respective matches, but what is the feeling for a lot of these players knowing this is the very last season to get the job done?
Already super early to see the Team War win 3-0 over GCPW. That already is a huge standout because they're starting off the day so incredibly hot in space.
Yeah, they really are. And in Fox, a lot of these matches have taken place kind of off stream, and now that we're getting here, we get kind of the brunt of the positives. We get to see winners round 1, losers round 1 and 2. But do you think the heavy hitters here, Team War and Elevate, are going to have an easier time moving through this knockout bracket? Because it seems that the teams that aren't at their caliber have respectively fallen down to the lower side. Is this just all par for the course, or will we see some upsets today?
Oh, there's definitely going to be a couple of upsets today. Already, last week, I feel like we saw Amelia Strays pull up a huge upset. And even today, we saw almost a reverse sweep get taken place. So this is when the pressure is really on, and kind of, diamonds start to show out when that pressure gets put on. So it's a lot of do or die for most of these teams.
Yeah, it certainly is. And Fox, there's pressure here for Elevate and War because they have some history together, and I know that both of the teams and the coaches have been prepping for this specific matchup. So let's take a look at the maps for the series, and I want to get your opinion, Fox, on what we see as the layout, because Garrison Hardpoint was the map that Team War played against GCPW to start their series. They won that 250-214, but across the board, you got Moscow, Checkmate, Raid, and Raid. Very standard meta here for Cold War this late in the season. Is there anything standing out to you, Fox, before we start the series?
Yes, if I'm facing off against the Spanish Team War, I am terrified to play against this squad when it comes to Garrison Hardpoint. Checkmate control as well. This is just such a well-coordinated team. They move around the map so beautifully, and you really get to see the unity carry them to victory in so many different series. So we can hop into the action now and see how it all unfolds.
I absolutely agree. Well, for this first one, we will say goodbye to Fox for just a little bit, and we will hop on in. Allie and myself will help bringing you through the action. To start, it's Elevate and Team War, and going into this, a massive matchup between these two juggernauts in Europe. Both these teams, respectively, have been fighting and grinding down their roster to get as perfect as possible, and now it comes to a head, and we'll see who moves on to tomorrow.
Already right off the bat, Elevate has the first couple of seconds going into this P1, and they've really locked it down as Team War is still coming off the spawn, trying to fight their way in through small, but unfortunately tacticals are going to be called out, so it's going to keep them off the point for now as Elevate is soaking up all of this time. They have to start worrying about this rotation as you see a couple members of Elevate kind of go through greed. They do get taken back down by Journey himself, so he's going to be that first to touch the next rotation with 10 seconds left on the first hill.
And this kind of matchup is really a battle of the proactive gameplay. I was talking to Team War's coach just a little bit before their matchup and asking him, what's kind of the mindset going into this? Because you have history against Elevate. The last time you guys both played each other in Season 5, it was a 3-0 win for Team War, but has anything changed? And he basically said, no, we want to just continue to make sure we play proactive gameplay. We don't react to their styles, and they play a very structured setup. Elevate are very, very good at holding down the line and working as a team, so we want to disrupt that. But we couldn't be able to watch all of this amazing gameplay if it weren't for these amazing observers. Shane and Kyle, once again, one of the best observing duos in the land, and more importantly, Call of Duty is blessed with some of the very best observers in esports. If they didn't do their job, we couldn't do ours, and we thank them so much for their contributions, giving us the best gameplay alive. Now into this second hill, Elevate off to a hot start, 60-4, and it's a 4-1 lead for Hixie as he continues to go on a 4 spree, close to streaks, but Weeman is currently working at top green.
Hard to believe that this team was almost reverse swept just moments before as they had gotten that on top of Team War. They broke into this early P2, and Hixie, I believe, was on a 4 spree. He does finally get taken down, but Weeman, he's sitting respectively at 6 and 4, and Denza at 6 and 3. They are on a hot streak, and not only that, they are already rotated for next as well. Team War need to change gears right now. They just came off of a hot 3-0. Let's hope they didn't get too comfortable as Elevate is looking to run away with this first hardpoint shot.
And the keys to victory, Allie, for Elevate, or really for Team War, right? Elevate need to slow down those front subs. You're looking at Yako and Journey. If they can mitigate their presence on the field like they're doing now, they will have a very easy time in these respawns because Team War's offense flows through Journey and Yako. They let them dictate the pace and set the standard for how everyone else plays. Of course, Lucky can be an X factor in his own right, but it really comes down to Journey's presence and Yako's self-awareness. These two guys together are not only great teammates, great friends, and I've been told that Yako has a great relationship with everybody, but that's how the offense works for Team War. Right now, the 2-10, you can feel that on the field. 120-7, not the start the Team War wanted, and yes, they'd been sitting after their 3-0, and Elevate had to go to a Game 5 and battle it out. But certainly, we're expecting a little bit of a better performance from Team War going into our next set of rotations. We go down to P4, though, and so far inside, Yako is ready and waiting. Bid's trying to break through the back. We'll see how the offense works now.
Yako is struggling to get his footing in this game as he is 2-6, just trying to get sit in that objective and hopefully get some kills on the side of Elevate. And although time is going their way, Hixie and Denza together clean that up fairly quickly. But Metal's he able to make it back in. He has to stay alive though, but Bids is not having it. He takes down to Elevate 125, Team War to 27. Team War is having a slow start here. Elevate not allowing them to get their footing, not allowing them to set up that strong defensive that we've seen so much out of the Team War. So Elevate looking to break the 150 here. And not only that, looking to possibly rotate into next 16 seconds on the hill. Team War needs to start getting this early rotation and these early holds.
Yeah, we got P5 coming up in just a couple of moments, and you're not too worried right now if you're Team War. Yes, you're down by a lot, but until we get to that 170, 180 mark, that's when you start to panic, and you need to patiently panic at that because Yako is quadruple, centuple negative. Well, we'll just make up words, why not? As Hixie jumps into the hill, he's going to find a free kill on Metals, and the subs can't do their job unless the ARs do theirs, vice versa. The ARs are trying their best. Lucky and Metals doing what they can to contribute, but the sub pressure just isn't there. Weeman and Bids clean up 2 more. Lucky and Journey both down. Metals might be the next victim in bricks, and no one's been inside to contest. So while all this time is currently going to Elevate, Team War are struggling just to find a break. That's 3 dead. This is the best possible scenario to break into the hill, get 30 seconds back, and you can try to bring this game back one at a time, but it's going to take subsequent hills and chaining them together. And we're on P5, which means we got P1 coming right up after it. You have to lock down these spawns if you're Team War if you want any chance to come back in this game.
Metals with a huge 2-piece to break themselves back into the hill, but Denza answers with one of his own. Elevate is just not allowing Team War to set up. They are giving them no breathing breathing room as they continuously just push into their face and get them out of the hill. Rotation on to next. It is going to be Team War first, but we've seen Elevate break this time and time again on this map. Bates and Hixie already found 2. Hill is already contested within the first 10 seconds. Denza finds a 2-piece, and now time is going to the side of Elevate, looking to break that 170 point. Team War still only has 45 on the board. This is not the Team War we expected to see today when the pressure is immediately on and today is do or die. Team War 45 seconds, Lucky 12 and 11 doing what he absolutely can, but Yago and Metals are still having a slow start.
Yeah, it's going to be a long series, folks, but off this start for Elevate, this is what they do best. They are a well-oiled machine. Everyone does their job to the best that they can, and when they're firing on all cylinders as a roster, they are one of the toughest teams to beat in all of Challengers. I don't care whether it's North America, Europe, even Latin America. They are one of the best in the world, and if you're Team War, winning the respawns and disrupting this organized, methodical flow is going to be the key to victory, and that's how you're going to win this series, in the respawns, in these hard points. But right now, they're about to get 50-point bombed if they don't break into the hill. Finally, they do. They're set up for P2. This is where you need your subs to go huge. And with Metals currently working towards Craze, if he locks down Hixie, I mean, you talk about just funneling these spawns through bricks and forcing those subs to fight challenges where Drake can absolutely win. Yago trying to work on the outside, and these outskirts have been locked down by the boys in red. Team War doing a very nice job of keeping the kills on the outside of the hill, funneling decent players into their positions. And now Vince tries to go for an aggressive take through top green. That's 3 dead, and that's a break from Elevate. This is an unfortunate turn of events and a huge break to essentially close out this game. One more hill is all that's needed, but Team War have to fight back.
Bids and Hixie played that so incredibly well together. It was them against the entire roster of Team War, and they were able to pick them apart and take over this hardpoint. So not only did they get this final scrap time, now they are 3 players on the rotation as well. Team War needs to take down Hixie on green here. Able to do so. Only 3 seconds, so will go their way. 214 to 80, and no members of Team War are able to get onto that rotation, so that's going to be the first couple of seconds. Going to the side of Elevate, they have one good push here on the side of Team War if they want to stay in this game, but Hixie and Denz in the back are not letting it happen. Yako tries to find one off spawn. Journey does find 2, but 227 to 79. Journey by himself waiting for his team. He gets shut down. 3 players hit the front, and they all are getting wiped, and the trophy's lighting up white.
What makes Elevate dangerous is when the ARs are going demon time. Hixie's job is that much easier. He can just roam, and try to push to the back is almost impossible because Bids and Denza won't allow it, and Bids with a double kill might just close this game out. I mean, they are shooting everything in sight, pulling up from the parking lot. It's 245 to 79. Welcome to the 80-point club. Team War gets smoked in game 1. Elevate stomping their way through the series.
It just felt like every time I saw the kill feed light up, it was Bids and Denza or Bids and Hixie. It was one of those combinations that were just picking apart the roster of Team War, and they just weren't able to get any footing throughout the entire map. Elevate just did not allow them to get any sort of pace going their way.
Yeah, they absolutely agree, Al. You nailed it right there. That they couldn't get any pace. And the key to victory, I spoke with the coach of Team War, and I said, tell me, without giving away the trade secrets, tell me what you're looking at with Elevate. What is the one way you can beat this team? Because you've done it before, but have things changed? And he said, we have to play proactive, not reactive, which they didn't do in that game 1. And you have to let Journey and Yako dictate the pace and set the offensive style. Elevate is a very methodical, well-put-together team that's been practicing together all season. There is a reason they are this good and cohesive and synergetic on the field, and Team War just couldn't break that. They couldn't establish any rhythm, they couldn't establish any presence, and they couldn't dictate the game at all. They were at the absolute will of Elevate, and Elevate crushed them. Every single hard point, Elevate was winning handedly. And Ali, you completely nailed it. There was just really nothing Team War could do, and it doesn't help when the subs are going 8 and 25, and you know, it's a rough game 1, but still plenty of games to be played.
I mean, Elevate going off their last series, going all the way to the distance, for them to come out this hot and to stomp Team War this convincingly, I want to know what happened in the earlier series. What was like different Elevate teams did we see? Because Team War, again, they're coming off a hot 3-0, and then going to this hardpoint, they just get slammed. And Team War is one of those teams, should I had predictions going into this, I would have predicted them winning the hardpoint. You know, they're a very hardpoint-oriented team. They're very good at respawn because they're such a heavily defensive team. But to see them get shut down like that so easily by Elevate, it makes me incredibly worried going into the rest of the series.
Yeah, and here's a look at the map layout again, folks, and kind of recapping how the Team War versus GCPW series went. That game 1 hardpoint on Garrison was 250 to 214. It was a little bit close in the end, but it was a commanding hold and lead the entire time for Team War. But GCPW, has not been the best roster all season. And, I believe they've only won or lost a series like 3-1. Every other series they were getting 3-0'd. So in some fashion, right, like Team War very easily should have won that, and they did. Now coming down here, Elevate are not going to play the same way GCPW do, and Elevate are a much better team than GCPW, so Team War had to expect that it was going to be a bit more of a challenge. Only problem was they just didn't come out with the subs, and sometimes the common denominator is slaying, and the subs didn't do that. Yako was struggling, Journey couldn't set a rhythm, and when your two best aggressive subs, and two subs in Europe who many could point to and say that's a top 5 duo, when they're not contributing, the amount of pressure that puts on Metals and Lucky to step up out of their comfort zone and really take over the game and work overtime, you just couldn't figure it out, and you can't blame them. Elevate played lights out. Now we go to Moscow S&D, and I had picked Team War to take game 1, but now I'm thinking, okay, we go to Moscow S&D. If these are how the ARs and the subs are playing for Elevate and they take this Moscow 2-0, listen, we could be looking at a 3-0 to start this knockout bracket on the mainstream. I know Checkmate is a map that Team War are very good at, especially Journey on control. But if this is how they're playing today, it's going to be a very tough day for Team War.
I'm looking at the side of Elevate and going into map 2 already. I'm favoring them to win, and who I'm really going to look at though is going to be Weeman and Denza. That's kind of like the S&D people for this team. And
sure.
Weeman, I feel like he didn't really have a slow game 1. It's just his teammates were doing so much that he didn't have a stand-up performance. He was just getting his job done well. Denza, Hixie, Bids, the duos of swapping through and out. I mean, through bricks, taking the entire Team War roster apart on P2. I mean, they were all doing what they needed to do. And Weeman, he just could sit back. So now I'm really looking at him going to S&D, to see if he's able to shine, if he's kind of able to make himself the star of our second S&D on Moscow. And Team War, they have to forget about that map 1. They have to pretend that didn't happen, because that's stomping and then going into this S&D on a day like this when so much is on the line. You have to forget it. They have to hit a reset button. I got to see more out of Yako. He can't have that slow start again if they want to get back in this series. Yeah,
and even just looking at Team War as a whole, I'm not even talking about Lucky and Metals. Like, Journey and Yako specifically just got to forget about that game. Like, Lucky and Metals did all they could, but if you're Journey and Yako as a sub duo for this team that really opens up the offense, you completely forget about game 1. Did not happen. You don't even know what we're talking about. You go right into the S&D and you get your rhythm back under you. And that specifically comes through Journey. He has to be the X factor leading the charge for Team War. Let's get into it. Game number 2. Knockout bracket live and ready to go. And already 3 are pushing up, and Metals can't find anything. Gets absolutely gunned. Trades back and forth to mid-map. Bombs down. Flushing out with the nade. It's absolute pandemonium around the site. But the last alive is Lucky, and very quickly, Team War do not have the numbers.
That was all on Metal's shoulders. He had the perfect angle to take down like 2 members of Elevate when they came out of escalators, but he just couldn't connect the shots. I don't know if he got a little bit of drag, but the Elevate were just able to freely push in and wipe out 3 members of Team War just like that. Now bombs down. Lucky stuck in a 1v3. Not the situation you want to be. Once again, round 1 of the S&D, you've already lost the hard point by so much. You are creating the worst possible situation for yourself at this point.
Yeah, the only way that becomes doable is if Bids jumps out of bricks to the left and Lucky somehow gets a free kill, then maybe he gets a nice heady towards bomb and he can try to find a collat or something. But with Bids playing so patiently and not wasting any opportunity to hold that position, there is no chance Lucky's going to be able to play with that amount of time left. We continue on into game 2. If you guys are enjoying the series, let us know. Who do you think's going to win in the YouTube chat? Currently, series lead 1-0 Elevate. They won 250-79 and that opening hardpoint, which was not a result I think many expected. But we continue on to Moscow S&D. Again, a map that Elevate are very, very good at. And a lot of it comes off the back of what Denza and Hixie can do. Biz has yet to find a kill to start this one, and Metals will basically stun himself. That's unfortunate.
Very slow start out of Team War as they are just hesitating to put any pressure anywhere on the map as they are spread out still and back a bit of their spawn. Bomb looks like it's going to wrap towards the A side, although no real engagements have been made on that side either. Elevate's just kind of 3-stacking it, waiting for something to happen, and this is one of those things I hate that some teams may do, is that they hold that bomb for so long, and then once the clock starts running, that's when they decide to make a little bit of a panic decision. But bomb will make its way towards B. Denza might get some information, but Yako luckily shuts that down, but very quickly trade out by Weeman. As they now know bomb's going down, 2 players going to rotate. Bids does get taken down, so it is a 2v3. Bomb planted in favor of Team War. Pixie, though, finds a freebie on Journey in mid. Looks like we're going to see window push here as they make it onto the bomb site. Lucky is going to be waiting for it. He can't take down one. Weeman makes a turn onto Lucky. 1v2 Metals. It's going to do a little bit of a bomb check. 25 seconds, so Elevate have a lot of time they can kind of play with here. He has to come from somewhere. Metals, you have to win that gunfight. Hixie takes him down. Team War, who are in such a favorable situation, just get picked apart by the likes of Hixie. 3-1 on a 2 streak, and Weeman as well. 2-0 on a 2 streak. They got the ace collectively together.
You know, the start of that round for Team War was essentially kind of a bend test. They were seeing if the setup on defense from Hixie's crew would bend or if break at best, right? They were hoping they could break through the defensive hold. But once you kind of figured out that, okay, the durability is there, we're going to have to fall back to B, that's when things opened up. But they just didn't find the first blood to kind of get them in position. And the site control for Elevate on the rotation was a little bit too easy. They were just picking players apart. Team War, at this moment, if tactical timeouts existed in Call of Duty, at this level specifically, that's when I'd be calling it. Because so far, you need a breather. You have not been hitting your shots. These gunfights have been sloppy. They have not executed on trading as a team. And in individual gunfights that these boys usually win, they are getting absolutely beamed. Here comes Denza flying out again. He's going to get Jaco on a dry peek. Lucky will respond with 1. Tied up 3-3. And the rotation through mid-street. I mean, surely you must know more numbers will be over here if you're Team War. There's no one that has re-peaked off of the initial break, and Bomb is slowly rotating its way around. It might be a long rotation to A. I mean, this is Team War getting a free look at isolating and zoning Elevate towards mid-street. This should be a round Team War walk away with.
It should be space, but Elevate, they have shown time and time again, they just push up and pick Team War apart. Weeman almost finds a free kill onto Lucky. He manages to scrape away with his life as well. Little does he know, Team War members were pushing up the side, but Denza and Weeman shut 2 down. Team War, you are in such a favorable situation. You just have to close it out. Bomb isn't even done yet. 20 seconds left on the clock, and Elevate get the free plant onto the A site.
Weeman had like 14 health and wins that mid-street. And this is what you do if you're Elevate. Yep, you get bombed down as quickly as possible. You force time. And now all of the attention is now on Lucky as he has 36 seconds to find 2 kills. And this is a huge round. I mean, not only a 1v2 clutch, obviously, not all 1v2s are treated the same depending on the round, but to get some confidence injected back to Team War, they look absolutely cold for a team that just won 3-0. You might go for the check on Weeman. And here comes the challenge. Gets gunned. This is getting kind of dangerous, folks. It's a 3-0 lead. The next couple of rounds will be the telltale of the series, the telltale of this game. 3, 4, and 5 are the most dangerous rounds in any S&D game. And if they can't win the next one, if Elevate go up 4-0, this S&D is done. I don't know what's going on with Team War.
Spaceman, I'm going to say it. Team War needs to win a gunfight. They need to win these 1v1s, these free kills that they get these peaks on. Elevate has been just turning on them time and time again. I need Team War to start shooting straight. It's shooting straight here soon. They lost horrifically in the Hardpoint, and now they're down 3-0 in the S&D. This is not the Team War I have seen for the past 6 months of Call of Duty's Challengers, so something needs to change and change quickly as Bomb starts making its way towards the B side up street.
Yeah, and this is not the team where we've seen against Elevate earlier this season, but that's all credit to what Elevate's doing. They are so polished, so poised, and their synergy as a roster is unreal. As Journey is able to find the first blood, huge advantage for Team War. Bomb will go down. It's a slow rotation on the top side of the minimap. Weeman throws a couple of shots out, and Jaco unfortunately takes out his teammates, so Team War get one right back, but Elevate get one right back, but this is a chance now to really slow this game down. Metals can't win that gunfight, usually does. A turn and burn from Weeman, but Team War walk away with the win. It's sloppy, it's good enough. It's a 3-1 lead currently for Elevate, but you'll take one round at a time.
I'll take it. I will take it, Team War. Put yourself on the board, one round at a time. Journey getting this trades there being huge. I'm pretty sure they shut down every single member of Elevate, so that's breaking the streak on Weeman as well. He was 4-0, now 5-1. Team War Jaco 3-4, a little bit more life out of him coming into this S&D. Journey as well, 4-3. He's on a 3 streak from our last round here, 3-1. Bomb on the side of Elevate is going to make its way towards mid. Once again, might see that aggressive push happen here towards the street side. 2 members of Team War are ready for it. That's going to be Lucky and Jaco, as I'm trying to combine ship names here. Elevate slowed it down just a little bit, though, Space Fan.
Well, with that round win, you think the Team War might be playing with a little bit more confidence in mid-map, so I like the call from Elevate. Maybe it's just an ego pull, right? Pull us back, let Team War make a move. Great team trade there. Bait with your teammate. And as Journey will get the second. 3-3, all tied up here. Round advantage to Elevate and a very slow rotate with Bomb, and you can see that players 1 and 4 are working together, right? So you're going to at least have a trade, but this is another chance where Elevate can put the bomb down quickly and play advantage on site. Now, how do you retake if you're Team War? As it looks like they might be trying to work together, and it's just going to come down to timing on site.
Huge first blood for side of Team War, now in 3v3. 37 seconds on the clock, though. Metals is unable to take the one down in breaks, but he does end up staying alive. Tacticals are being thrown on both sides. This Journey is so weak. If Weeman just makes the peek here, he might get a couple shots onto him. Cuts down one. He now can stay alive on the stairs. 2 more members of Team War are going to push their ways up. Metals is now last alive. He's going to get traded out by Higgsy, I sure hope. Elevate now go up 4-1 in the search and destroy.
The keystone to letting that entire mountain fall into play is Weeman. If they don't get Weeman, they have no chance of retaking this site. Weeman just understands that. He plays his role to perfection. He stays alive. And that buys not only enough time to kill the clock, but get his teammates in position to hopefully just find the trades. They needed to take out Weeman in that spot, get Bricks control, and at that point, you pitch on Bomb. Very, very simple for Elevate, but that's what they do so well. The fundamentals, whether it's Respawn or S&D, they are one of the best in the world in challengers at that. As Weeman is 7-1, Denza and Higgsy combined for 9-6, 2-4 for bids, but he hasn't been asked to do much. And that's the best case scenario. Weeman leading the charge in the lobby at 7 kills. Trying to find Yako for the 8th, but no first blood for either team. A minute to go in this round. Bomb Carrier is lucky. And after a couple of warning shots to open up this one, Elevate are going to fall back and let Team War make the call.
At this point, I just want to see Team War just make a hard, aggressive push towards Elevate. Just do something to maybe flip the switch, do a little bit of a pace change. Elevate, I feel like, is a little bit too used to the slow play style of Team War, and that's really hurting them here, especially on this A side. As we already see 3 members are going to be there. Journey, though, finds a huge 2-piece. Bomb is still in spawn, though, so it won't get laid just yet, but Elevate's going to have to back up to their spawn and regroup a little bit, as it is a 2v4. Huge opening 2-piece by Journey, and he's not going to let anybody else get close to this bomb site. Bids is able to collect one, though, and Denza, though, he will get shut down by Journey, and now on a 3 spree, 8-4, doing everything he can to keep his team alive. Huge plays out of Journey to give Team War the round win.
Thought it was a little bit of a small over-aggressive challenge from Denza here, but what really more did you do? You got 3 members on site, and Journey, again, is the key to this offense, right? We talk a lot about Yako, but Journey's been a veteran with this team. And when he's getting going, when that sub is lighting up, especially in S&D, we know how good he was last season with the Atlanta FaZe Academy roster. We know how good he is as a talent. When Journey is leading the way for Team War, things start to open up. Things start clicking. And everyone gets more comfortable. Regardless of the fact that Lucky is 1-4, it doesn't really matter at this point. You just needed some confidence back in the team shot. You needed some confidence in these individual challenges. Journey has it right now. But Weeman gets first blood. Bids get second. Trades there. 3v1. Team War left up to Yako. It's going to be 5-3. And it's going to be match point for Elevate.
Elevate did not like that Journey got that 3-piece in the last round, as they had just forced their way up to the A site and picked apart Team War. I believe only one player of Team Elevate fell, so they are now sitting nice and pretty. I said it was going to be Weeman. That was going to be the one that turned up in the S&D. I said he was going to be the one that Team War is going to have to shut down. Weeman 9-2. Journey doing everything he can, though, on the side of Team War at 10-5, just trying to pull them along. But unfortunately, this is going to be the map point. 5-2. Elevate up already 1-0 in the series. Going to need something out of Team War here. Aggressive push, something. Get that first blood and take over the site. Metal's looking to hopefully find Higgsy on stairs, as he's the only one at A site. The aggressiveness out of Denza ends up shutting him down. B will get taken over by the side of Team War, though Bomb should go down for free here. But Elevate definitely knows what's going on. Bid's doing a long rotate through their spawn, looking to get them from the back of the street.
The problem is not the first blood. The problem is that he was the only one there, so they know that Bomb cannot be at A. And you can see them rotate immediately off of that kill. Journey and Yako both waiting and ready, but do you have street control? If not, do you have eyes? at mid-street? I don't think they do. I mean, if Denza gets any kind of timing here, he's going to at least get 2. You got to turn around. Oh, Denza! No, he can't get the kill. Lucky walks away. Bids responds. 1v1. This is for the game. It's Bids versus Yako, a huge 1v1 for Yako, and he falls off site. He's got 16 seconds to play, but here comes the challenge, and Bids just guns him. He's going to get the defuse and elevator up 2-0.
I was sitting here like, Yako, if you're going to do anything, you have to do it right now. You know, you had the slow hard point, make it up right here, win this 1v1, keep y'all alive in the S&D, and unfortunately he wasn't able to do it. Bids, though, that shut down. I mean, he is such a consistent player. I feel like every time I see the kill feed light up, it's him and another player on Team Elevate that are just wrecking through Team War, and that's the type of consistency, especially a team this good, definitely needs.
Well, we looked at the game 1 and we were thinking, what are the keys to victory for them, right? Yako and Journey, sure, but like, you know, they should have an easy time in top green. They should have an easy time on rotations. And if Journey and Yako are playing as good as they can, that Garrison Hardpoint has been working for Team War. They drop that. We go into game 2 in Moscow and we basically say, okay, what is the key to victory here for Elevate? Because this is a map they should win. Again, Hixie, Denza, and Weeman, right? That kind of core trio. What Weeman does and breaks his controls in AR, and the fact that Hixie can just roam confidently with the way this system is set up for Elevate, they should win this map. Well, they've won both, and they're currently up 2-0. Team War needed to at least steal the first respawn in this series, and the polish that I keep coming back to is clearly here. I mean, the S&D was clinical round after round. Even when Team War got a little bit crafty and creative, Elevate bounced right back. They got first blood on A-bomb and then immediately rotated, and it like plays like this where even if Denza picks up the kill, or the fact that he doesn't, you have everybody kind of watching the same spot. That should have been eyes at mid-street. That should have been turned around instead of hanging around the bus. You should have been looking the other way. It just seems like, again, Elevate are setting the tone and the pace of this series, and Team War are just struggling to meet it. What the coach said was, we need to be proactive, not reactive. So far, they have been the latter. They have continued to be the latter, and they just can't figure it out. And the only problem is, you're in essentially series point. You got one more game before you potentially drop down to the lower part of the bracket, alley. This is a very dangerous position to be in for Team War.
I like a Team War have been playing to Elevate's pace. Unfortunately, Elevate has taken advantage of the fact that Team War is such a slow defensive team, and especially in that search and destroy, Elevate, it just looks like they had concise decision making. It looks like they all were on the same page and knew what they were doing. I didn't see that from Team War. It seemed like they kind of would just feel out the round and then, you know, do whatever ends up working out, and that's what really costed them that map. And now going to this control, I'm favoring Elevate 100%. Team War not only being down 2-0 in the series mentally, just maybe not able to crawl their way back in. Elevate is a fantastic control team. I'm looking at Denza to just get in plane, and that's just all she wrote. I mean, you're going to be looking down the sights of Bids, who has had a lights out series as well, and then you have Weeman, who just had a lights out S&D, and Denza and Hixie can just do whatever they want on the map now. So Team War, they have to start doing something here, obviously, because it is series point. But for mentality at this point, I mean, 6 months into this game, you were considered one of the top teams. You can't allow Weeman to get a two-piece, as we just saw already off the bat.
Elevate have been one of the best teams in Europe all season. I mean, whatever amalgamation you want to talk about, this roster is unreal. Their chemistry, again, their synergy, we've talked about it, the polish. Elevate should be favorites a lot of times. If it were not like for Orglis being in their way, Elevate would probably be multi-season champions, but they always had to play against Orglis, and so far they haven't been able to find that hurdle. We've talked a lot about it as commentators with the fact that Elevate are close to a championship. They just can't get over that last speed bump. This might be the season they do it. If they're playing like this, if they are this composed and this synergetic, there is absolutely no reason they can't work their way through the competition. But Team War have posed a threat before. Let's see if they can do it again. We get into this control. Off the start, it's been all of Elevate slaying their way through. With 26-16, it's an 11 kill lead. Make it a 12 and 13 kill. Like, it's gone from a 10 to a 13 in a matter of seconds. We're already on the point, and this game is done. We didn't even talk about the points. Elevate, get round 1 on offense.
I couldn't even talk about what was happening.
Absolutely slaughtered. Like, I don't know if they need to plug in their controllers, if they need to restart their monitors. I don't know what's going on, but they are getting absolutely manhandled.
we were just talking about predictions just going into this, and the round was just flying by. I look over, and it's a 10 life difference between Elevate and Team War. At the side of Elevate, everybody has only died once. Elevate has a collective death count of 4 deaths. On the side of Team War, they have a collective of 4 kills, obviously. But I mean, 0-4 medals, Yako 0-4, Lucky 3-4 doing all that he can, Journey 1-5. Team War, I feel like, are just getting hammered right now mentally and are just unable to make that change, make that flip. And that's something that they have to do when they're considered a top team. They have to be able to make that change mid-series. They have to be able to do that problem fixing in the middle of a map, and I just have not seen that. Although a little bit of life right now as the Kofi does start to light up red. Pixie hopefully has something to say about that.
And right now, we got to wonder, what is the IGL for Team War? Is it Lucky? Is it medals? Either way, you need someone to kind of step up and start dictating the traffic here. You need plane control, which currently they do have as Journey goes down, but with how you've been losing mid-map consistently, at least just in the start of these first 2 rounds, you need to have plane control, and you need to get your subs online immediately. The programs that you've been running have just been sending back error messages. Yako is 1-6, Journey is 4-7. Journey had a great S&D, but he couldn't pull the team along with him. It's not his fault. Yako needs to pick it up. He had a very, very bad hardpoint, a very slow S&D, and right now he's having a very hard start to this control. You need to get Yako in a position to at least get comfortable winning gunfights, get him near the point, always contesting something. There needs to be some calm communication, some IGL that steps up and says, hey guys, we got to start directing some traffic here. Let's get ourselves in a position to possibly win this round. As right now they're working on that second bit of progress on A. The tick will go through, and they also have one on B that's slowly being progressed. As Journey with quality shots will move back up to the top of the wing. And they have A locked down. So here come the subs now. Journey collecting 2. Medals will get 1 more. And B is now the call. They put another minute on the clock. And Ali, Team War have turned this around.
They're turning it around, but my hopes are not too high yet. Journey kind of keeping them hanging on here under plane as Denza shuts him down. B site does have 1 tick, though, 1 minute and 30. It is completely doable. Team War have a 17-13 life count on top of Elevate as well. Denza, though, 9-5. Hixie, 9-6. Wayman, 8-4, respectively. I'll be worried if Bid starts going off as well, but Denza is going to have control of the swing right now. He does get shut down by Metals, who had a clean 3-piece earlier as well to help Team War get that A site from mid-map, so it is incredibly doable for them. They have 1 minute on the clock, though. Elevate looking to get that spawn trap as we see Hixie and Bids push their way up to construction yellow. Bids and Denza now find 2, and now Journey's going to have to go on a little bit of a hunt in their spawn. Not the most favorable situation to be in, Sean.
Here's what I was going to say before this kind of broke open, that Team War were doing something quite well, which was isolating their gunfights and winning them, which is big, but also they weren't allowing Elevate to trade together, which is what Elevate does so well. So they were winning the gunfights and they were keeping Elevate in isolated, staggered hits. But after that, Elevate were able to break through with a team kill. They move up into the spawn. Finally, Team War break through, and Denza's going to invest these streaks. I don't blame them. Try to secure this round if you can. They'll fall down. Artillery gets 1, gets his teammate as well, and that is not the best case scenario, as that's going to be B capped. That's going to be round number 2 to Team War, and this means we got a tie game.
A little bit of a panic call of a streak, I feel like, there, because B basically was almost all she wrote, and it just hit barely in time, but because it also took out his teammate, it got capped regardless. So now a waste of streaks on the side up Elevate. I don't want them to start getting panicky. I don't want them to start getting worried because Team War is showing some light. They need to just keep playing the way they have been playing, and it'll end up going in their favor. Team War, though, a big switch out of them, and then exactly what they needed at the time that they needed. Control can be a little bit of a swing mode in most series, and that's exactly what Team War is hopefully looking to do here.
Yep. You said it best. 9-10 for Journey. Yako at 6-10. Even though they're negative, that's a better performance than, again, what they had in game 1 and what they could have had in this one. So you can start to feel their presence now. You can start to feel how those kills affect the game. On the defensive end, Team War once more. But Hixie opens up with a double kill. B is now wide open for his control, and he will step foot inside first. Now you look at where Elevate's spread on the minimap, so far pushed up into the wing. His 1 will fall. It was Denza who drops. Bunched up for Team War. It's a 4-man hit through the back. 1 more falls. And now numbers begin to spread. So we'll see how they play it on the offensive hole. He can try to find anything. Krieg in hand, can't find a single kill. Couple of collapses here and there, but so far, I mean, you know, pretty standard across the board. As Elevate have a couple of ticks, to work with on A. But no one's been able to blow the game open just yet. But with playing control here, Elevate might be in a position to do that.
Oh, that unfortunate timing is he's swapping between weapons. Yako it shuts him down real quick, but second tick does go on A. Dunce is able to shut him down with a quick nade, and life counts almost pretty even, 22 to 20. Journey, we got 2 metals finds 1. They stopped the A progression. Now are they gonna get that tick down as A is almost capped just barely. Weeman is mid-map. He could do something here if he gets the timing just right. But little does he know that Yako and Lucky are right above him and getting plane control. This is more of a series that we expected to see. A does end up getting capped, but B has no progression just yet. 1960s lives in favor in Team Elevate. 3 members of Elevate are in plane. When they know that Yako's up there, doesn't matter. They do pick him off. Now Elevate probably looking to do a little bit of a spawn trap here. 60 pushes up and gets a little too aggressive, so he gets shut down and now just leaves Weeman and Bids under the plane.
Yeah, for the next 30 or so seconds, if you're Elevate, you continue that life lead. You try to put as many kills on the board to make it that much easier for a hold in the end game. Again, we still got another round to go. Possibly 2 with how this one's playing, but playing control for Team War. Consistent trades. They've evened up the life count. Now we slow things down. Big win by Metals, and that is the aggression and the confidence in those shots and those challenges that has been evading Team War all series. Finally, it's coming back into life, and Team War are back in this one. If they take this round, they're up 2-1. This series is brand new. We go to a hard point potentially, but we'll see how Elevate play it currently. They're trying to break out a spawn here, and you need a team wipe to realistically get onto the point. There's 2. Weeman with a 3rd. And here's the break on the B they've been looking for. They need plane control. They got it.
And I was going to say Metals does have a little bit of a chance here as they hadn't sniffed him out in plane just yet. But as soon as they say that, Hixie does shut him down. So now 4 members of Elevate have complete plane control. This could be all she wrote for this round as Elevate is looking to shut it down on the B side. Weeman finds 3 now on a 4 streak as well. He could play for streaks here, which would be huge going into this next round. But it looks like he's going to play a little bit aggressive, trying to shave the heads off of a couple Team War players.
Yep, you just play time at that point, and now that you're right, play for streak, sure, but at this point, no one's around the point, so don't try and challenge anything where you lose, you lose that angle, you lose the gunfight. Just sit on the point and get the time. They get the tick through, and Team War played that so well all up until the end, and Elevate got 1 break, they got plane control, and then right after that, they won the next set of trades, the next set of kills, they got a couple team wipes, they kept them in spawn. Elevate did their job. They did it in the last 30 seconds. That's when you need to most. And Team War just couldn't get it done in the end. Still, it's a 2-1 game in this control. 1 more round needed for Elevate to win this series 3-0 and send themselves to tomorrow, to the single elimination bracket. Not a result I think many expected. Sure, many predictions for Elevate, but a 3-0 with how these teams have played each other, certainly not. 2-1 lead currently. It's going to be a close one, Allie.
This control will be a close one indeed with Journey shooting like that. 15 and 18 trying very hard to put themselves back into this game. Elevate has made this series look a little too easy, I think, for most of our comforts, but Team War is trying to fight their way back into it. A couple of progression going on both sides, but Elevate shutting it down fairly quickly. Life count is even across the board, but Elevate definitely have map control for right now. Playing control in the hands of Bids and Denza. Weeman holding the back line on the A side. Team War, they got to break out of this soon. 40 seconds on the clock. No serious progression on either side. 3 kills off the spawn. This could be very dangerous for Team War.
Well, they're finally on A. You at least have 1 there, but all it takes is 1 bad challenge and things go awry. And here comes Weeman wrapping through the back. They're trying to get plane control as well to kind of pinch this site together. And Weeman might wait for his teammates to get into position. It looks like that will be the call. Maybe just check out quickly for a small shoulder and a peek. As he is waiting ever so patiently. There goes the challenge on Metals. Slide out from Journey. He's going to at least get 1. That will help things. And even though it's a clear through mid-map, yeah, you didn't get the contest nor the decap on A, but all is good. It's 17 to 19. It could be worse. You give them A, put another minute on the clock. And now you can just try to play kills. 18 to 16, Team War have a chance here for sure to send this one to OT. And it comes down to ticks and progression, not kills. So keep that in the back of your mind. As Yako works his way towards the back of the plane, but he gets shut down. 2 more kills for Elevate.
A funny notion to think about is when we first start playing control and we started working into Cold War, is it was, defensive was usually what everybody was able to take easily. And taking an offensive round meant usually that you won that control map, but this is another game that she wrote as each team has taken all of their offenses. Team War already looking good, is hopefully taking another one to tie it up 2-2. It's all about what team's going to win this defensive now. As we're in this control right now, Hixie's trying to find a couple in mid. Nobody peeking out just yet. There's a lot of trophies, though, that he does not see right to his left. No tacticals for him. Elevate, though. 14 and 12 up in lives. They have plane control for a moment, but 3 players of Team War do force their way in. Now, one good wipe and Team War could right away this B site. Number 3, though, Denza. Yep, pushing his way towards the spawn.
They're trying to funnel Team War into the back of the plane and kind of cut them down. Lead him into the slaughterhouse. Metals with a huge assist from Journey will keep him alive, but how long will he last is the question. Still working on B very slowly. Only one there is Journey. And if you're Elevate, you must know you have a chance to clean them off the point. Only problem is they can't get out of spawn. I mean, Metals is just causing a distraction, pulling attention away from B. And slowly but surely, Team War are working their way through this. I mean, if no one touches this, we're going to overtime. Bids, last alive for Elevate. He's going to get one. They get both. Denza under the wing will cut him down. Yako inside cabin. 6 versus 6. It's going to come down to this.
Metals is going to be huge here. He slides his way onto the site. Hixie is very weak, but he doesn't finish the kill. Metals, so you do reach out. Denza's going to be there too as well. He's just going to play his life 20 seconds, though. Metals, you are the only hope Team War has currently, as number 6 and 8, Yako and Journey, are just a little too far. You have to take down a couple players, but it lights up. White, Bids, Weeman, and Hixie collectively find 9 seconds on the clock. It's all up to Lucky. He's going to get shut down as well. Elevate looking to take this 3-1 as they win the first game.
Too clinical in the end. Way too clinical. It looked like for a moment they just needed one extra push onto B, and that was going to be it. But Elevate get a kill under the wing from Bids. It collapses, and they get a full hold. They put up the walls. They say, you shall not pass onto the site. And they don't. There was nothing that Team War could do. And in this series, with this chapter being closed on the control, it's a 3-0 sweep. Elevate manhandle their way through this series. And for Team War, that's a rough way to lose, even though you still have an extra life in this bracket. I don't think anyone expected it to be a 3-0, at least in this fashion, with how dominant the game 1 was in the game 2. Fox, welcome back. You were watching the entire series, brother. Just talk to me a little bit about what you were noticing, what your reaction was, and how good Elevate look right now.
I gotta say, just a shocking conclusion to that series. I mean, it's no surprise that Elevate would be capable of coming out with a victory here against Team War, but the fashion in which they did it should shock anyone that's been watching the EU Challengers all series. I mean, Team War constantly goes the distance against the best teams. They just went to Game 5 against Orglis just last week, and here they just look sloppy. Elevate picked them apart.
Allie, this is an Elevate roster who went to Game 5 in their prior series today, and they were up 2-0. So clearly they've had to make some small corrections and kind of fix some of their gameplay. But do you think the fact that they went through a bit of a grueling start today kind of helped them going into this, and the fact that Team War 3-0 swept their way, the relatively easy opponent meant that they just sat for a while, even though they're warming up? Do you think that 3-0 hurt Team War?
Oh, it definitely hurt Team War. It's a little bit of a double-edged sword for Team Elevate, for the fact that they played so many maps right before this game. Is one, they got a lot of repetition in, they got a lot of warm-up in from the series beforehand, but also that could have been a little bit too much. That could have been a little deteriorizing. And, Team War coming hot off of a 3-0, it's definitely not the Team War we expected to see. I mean, you should have seen the confidence in them. You should have seen a lot more concise playmaking, but Team War, it just didn't look like the team that we usually see. And I don't know what Team War I just watched, but I hope they pick it up here soon, as they are able to stay alive in this bracket thus far. But it's not always going to be like that. So congrats to Elevate, though. That was an absolute showing by them.
Elevate's one of the best teams in the world for a reason. They are so good together, and we wish them the best moving forward to the single elimination bracket tomorrow. Again, Team War, still time to regain, time to rebound. We'll see them in a little bit, but until we get there, let's take a look at the bracket, because we got some interesting things to break down, and well, this is just how today has worked, right? Team War won over GCPW to start the day. Elevate beat Belgium Power. They play each other, and Elevate just drops them from the top rope. Now we got GCPW currently up 2-0 over Belgium Power and loses round 1. Whoever wins that matchup, at this moment, it looks like trends are setting for GCPW to walk away victorious. They will move on to play Team War in losers round 2. It's currently 1-1 in the control, as we're being told in that game number 3. But if GCPW win, they will move on to losers round 2 and play Team War. And now I'm being told it's 2-1 Belgian Power. So we're going to see a back and forth series down there, I'm sure. But regardless, Team War dropped down. They have an extra life. But man, if they have to go back and play GCPW and they end up losing that series, it's going to be a talking point for sure. But there's plenty of time to figure that out. Fox, kind of your thoughts on the bracket, man, and how this day for Europe at least might play out.
All right, look, so Team War, they're going to get their second chance facing off against GCPW again. I mean, this was the second time we got to see War play against Elevate, and it ended up in a totally different conclusion than what we saw the last time. Of course, Team Elevate playing against some of the toughest teams, having the roughest start in Challenger Series here in Stage 5, and then they get their second chance and just come through in dominating fashion where it mattered most. So you got to be impressed with what you saw from Elevate. You also just have to be like, right, this is more of the same in terms of what they are capable of. But the competition from War in this series specifically just was not there.
And Allie, while I got you guys here, let's just dive into kind of some of the details, right? Because we very rarely get a chance to just talk about this series and kind of recap before we move on to something else. So let's talk a little bit about how Elevate approached this, because I had said many times during the call, right? Like Elevate are polished, their synergy is there, their chemistry is there, and when we watched that series, like you talked about, Fox, like for Team War, it just wasn't there. And Elevate are a cut above the rest, but it seems that this is the most cohesive Elevate have looked in a while. Not saying they didn't before, because we know they've made it to grand finals and they just can't get over the last speed bump of Orglis. But Allie, looking at Elevate specifically, number one, do you think this is the season they can take it home with how they're playing? And number two, for that series as a whole, what specifically stood out to you, whether it was intrinsic or analytical, that stood out to you about how Elevate played that kind of, pulled you back out of the moment and said, wow, this team is just doing it?
For that game 1 and game 2 out of Elevate, I mean, they were just playing lights out. I think that is probably like the top tier we've ever seen Elevate, and the top that they are capable of doing. And in that map 3, obviously Team War came back a little bit, and I saw slight mistakes in some of the playmaking by Elevate, like the score street that was used. That was a little bit of a questionable call because they were up and they should have saved that going to the next round, even should they have fallen down because they were up 2-0 in the series. So I feel like that game 1 and that game 2, lights out. We saw one of the best Elevate maps I feel like we've seen, and if they continue to play like that, easily I am favoriting them going into the rest of this very easily. Even when it comes up against Orglis, I feel like those two teams going against each other is some of the best Call of Duty we might be watching this season. And Team War, they never got footing. They never got a pace. Like, they got a little bit of couple momentum pushes, I feel like, by Journey and Lucky when it came to that control. But Elevate, time and time again, they were aggressive. They were playing together. They were constantly playing trades with each other. It was never one player going off on their own and getting 2 or 3 pieces. It was always two of them. It was always two of them together, 2v4ing, like, able to get the trades properly. They were winning their gunfights. Elevate, I mean, they just looked fantastic when they were all playing together, and they were all very consistent across the board.
It's currently 2-2 in the control. Belgium Power, GCPW playing in losers round 1. Again, we'll keep you updated. But Fox, just kind of looking at Team War as a whole, it's very quick for us to kind of switch into like the Reddit brain and be like, well, KD matters, right? It has to be, you can't slay, you don't win. And while like 99% of the time, I think we all agree that that's not everything that goes into playing Call of Duty.
Right.
I look at this series and I say the fact that, that Journey and Yako just didn't have their best series, it very clearly came down to KD at some points. Like, it came down to the fact that they just were not contributing. And if you're Team War, you're playing a 2v4 against one of the best oiled machines in Europe. Like, do you think it comes down to something as simple as that?
I think in this series, it absolutely does. I mean, we're used to seeing Journey and Yako contribute a whole lot more than what they did in this series, especially as what you saw in map 1. When your submachine gun pressure just isn't there, this Team War, it crumbles, and it crumbles hard. And, Coach Magic at home, I'm sure, is not happy with what he saw in this series. Sure. I'm sure the guys in the lobby, Team War themselves, they know they're capable of so much more than this. I mean, they've shown it time and time again, but you are facing off against some players that have been competing in our open tournaments and became champions, some players that have been playing in the Challenger Elite Series, and they find themselves in these latter stages of our competition time and time again. So you got to bring it or get rolled through like they did here.
Yeah, and we kind of just look at these teams as a whole because, we've said many times, whether it's on Twitter or on this broadcast, we've talked a lot about the differences between North American challengers and European challengers. And kind of one of the big things is that North America sure has structured teams, and sure there are rosters that have impressed throughout the entire season, whether season 1 in February or season 5 here in July. There has been many, many different iterations and amalgamations of rosters that have existed in North America, but it's gotten to the point where roster changes are so frequent that it almost feels like it's a giant pool of eights a lot of the times. And while there's individual talent that shines across the globe, it can feel like individual efforts in North America, whereas here in Europe, it does seem like there is more of a focus on having that strong team identity that comes through in series like this. And then when things don't go right, the personality of the team can start to shine through, and that can recourse correct everything. Ali, looking at the separation between North America and Europe, since we get to look at both, do you think that assessment, whether it's from the fans or from us as casters, that the team play seems to be very, very strong in Europe like it is in North America, but there is a bit of a difference between the regions. Do you think that has held true throughout all these seasons?
I think it's definitely held true. It could get down to, talking just about the player pool available regardless to both regions. But EU in general, they have always kind of stuck together. They've always played together and created these bonds and this chemistry. And that's something really important that I think NA could probably learn a lot from. I feel like NA, they're very focused on being, a star player, being the one that can take over a map. But at some point when you get to the higher levels, it's going to take a lot more than that one player that's able to go off, or that one player that could possibly take over a map. Because at the end of the day, obviously, it's a team game. It requires teams. And something some people say is, either your ARs need to do well to watch over your subs, and that's a team that does well, or your subs need to do well to protect the front line for the ARs. But at the end of the day, it's both. It's a double-edged sword. You need to be able to do both and have players and teammates that are able to do both. And something interesting about Elevate is I feel like that's what we watch. We watch the subs that were able to dominate that front line and protect their ARs, as well as their ARs are able to overlook their subs and protect that back line. So it's a team effort all the way through.
Yeah, it's a dichotomy, Ali. Like you said best, your subs can only do what they can when the ARs work, and vice versa. It works both ways. And in that game, Team War just could not figure that part out, and that's okay. It happens, we know. But of all the times for it to kind of happen, especially against this opponent, not an opportune opportunity. That's a mouthful and then weird tautology, whatever. We keep moving, and guess what? We have been told that Belgium Power won the control 3-2. So now we go to a game 4. Current series lead is GCPW up 2-1. We're going to hop into the Hardpoint and continue on with this series and see it through its entirety. We'll see what happens, because the winner of this goes on to play Team War. As they drop down, we move to the side. It's a whole lot of moving pieces and Tetris, but either way, let's talk quickly about kind of this series going forward. GCPW got, I don't want to say smoked, but they lost to Team War 3-0, right? 3-0s are not weighted equally, but we couldn't really tune in with the S&D, just kind of given how the community stuff works. It was a 250-214 hardpoint, so the hardpoints have been close. But going into this next hardpoint, I'm just going to quickly throw out there, I'm going to give you guys a very, very easy. Who are you picking? Ali, starting with you. GCPW or Belgium Power? Who are you picking in this one?
Just because of GCPW and that 0-3 earlier to Team War, and then watching the way Team War is playing, I gotta say Belgian Power are able to push through and get that reverse sweep into this series. I'm looking at Maple hopefully going off. I'm looking at Lenny hopefully going off and kind of carrying them through the rest of these maps. So I'm looking at Belgian Power for sure.
I love the recency bias, Sally. This is why you're the best. Fox, same question to you, brother. We got, two teams who are basically battling it out to stay alive. You lose this, you're done. You win it, your reward is playing Team War, which is not always the best thing. Who you pick going into this? As I believe we have the maps up as well.
I'm looking at GCPW. We're looking at the teams within the bottom 4 that have been in the bottom 4 duking it out in this matchup. But GCPW, I think, has a much stronger chance of closing out this series here. They're one map away. They could take this Garrison Hardpoint for sure. They did take the first one in the series. So I have to say, I'm in the GCPW corner for this series.
And yeah, I kind of like how you frame that, right? Like, we are looking at teams that are in the bottom 4. Again, teams 2 through 6 at the end of each stage will be playing in the knockout bracket. Teams 7 and 8 are relegated. Teams 1 and 2 move through to the single elimination tournament. So we're seeing a separation between teams 2, 3, and 4, and 5 and 6. There is a varying difference and a measurable difference. And here's the layout of the series. GCPW took the first 2, 250-173, and a 3-round lead in the S&D. Belgian Power bounced back. They were down, I believe, 2-1, and obviously they won that, right? So now we go to Garrison Hardpoint, a map where GCPW have had familiarity today. They played Team War on it. They lost, but you still played it, which means if you have, the right players and hopefully the right coach or someone in an IGL position, they can say, hey, let's not do this time because we just did that against Team War. It didn't work. So now we go into Garrison. We got Moscow up next. Ali, looking at the spread we got on our screens, is there any map you think that any specific player will thrive on? Talking a little bit about the rosters, Garrison or Moscow, what are you feeling?
Specific player of Moscow, I'm looking on the side of Maple for Belgian Power. He's kind of a bit of a map changer when it comes to that team. I feel like whenever we see, a big switch go and win whoever they're playing against, it's usually because Maple starts doing something on the map. So definitely keep an eye out for him, and I can see you agreeing with me, Sean.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you on a lot of things, Ali. But I look at also, I just kind of look at like GCPW, right? And I look at what PD was doing today. I've seen some of the clips, and I was watching the opening Hardpoint that they played, and he's hitting his shots. He's absolutely smoking. But again, it's a team effort, sure. But with how much we put pressure and focus on subs today, and if we're keeping that attention there, I do want to shift the spotlight to PD and say, I think subs are obviously a huge factor going into series like this, into events and moments like this. And if PD is having a good day and he can get help from the rest of his team, I think GCPW could have a very good time in this Hardpoint. Fox, anything you're seeing across the board or anything specific you want to talk about?
So I think Ali is right on the money. We got to look at Maple. He's going to be a name we see pop up in the kill feed on the left side of it, the correct side of it, time and time again, I'm sure. But we also cannot discount the capabilities on the side of GCPW. I mean, you mentioned PD. This is a guy, take a look at his time on Infused in the past. This guy has been around the European scene for such a long time. And, it's a name that you need to know. And I'm sure he'll be able to show it in this series.
I look at the name Genesis, right, who I think he had a slow start in the start of the Elite Series earlier this year, and he's gotten better as each season has gone on. If I remember correctly, which is, again, never the case, I believe it was Genesis, Nile, and Aroma, I'm forgetting the fourth, who were on that, original roster back in Season 1. And we always talked about, these are four good players, but just not together, and they've made changes, of course. Genesis has become a very, very fun player to watch in Europe, and I am a huge fan of his style. I can't wait to see what he does in this matchup, but let's get right into the Hardpoint. Let's stop wasting your time. Let's get into it. Garrison Hardpoint Game 4 coming up on your screens. We got GCPW versus Belgium Power. Lenny Abuza, Brezzy, and Maple for Belgium Power, and GCPW, you guys know it, Genesis, PD, Chain, and Whalers. This is going to be a fun one. It's currently a 2-1 series lead for GCPW. One map away, I should say, from going to play Team War.
Lenny pulling out the Greg in the mid here, something we don't see him pull out too often, as already it looks like no scrappy fights at all in mid, as nobody really gets a couple gunfights out. Finally, PD finds that first one on to Breezy, but now Trade's finally going out. A little bit of a slow start, and scrappy middle. No time for sure going to either side. 6 seconds sure on the side of Belgian Power. Maple's going to be there, though he is weak, needing the help of Breezy as he pushes on. Now they are going to start getting more time their way. 20 seconds left, though, on P1. No rotations looking like on the side of Belgian Power going to P2 just yet, but as soon as I say that, Breezy was looking to push his way through Chain and Whalers, so holding that front line, but Abuza and Breezy spawn behind them, get a couple shots in the back. It is all up to Whalers to stay alive. He gets shut down, and now spawns are in favor of Belgium Power. Very unfortunate situation for GCPW, as they are now spawning cross map. Not only did they not get any P1 time save for 3 seconds, they're also going to lose the initial rotation time to the side of Belgium Power.
And I talked a little bit about Genesis, right? Off to a slow start, but things can certainly change. And it feels like we got shot back to about 40 minutes ago when we were watching War versus Elevate. I mean, look at this lead that's continued. And this is how it started. This is how the trend was set in that hard point, especially on this map. It can be dangerous if your ARs are in a position to at least contest the hill. It's 60-3. We keep on going. 5-2 for Whalers. Can you find anything inside? Well, Brez is in the opposite end, and Linean gets absolutely smoked. Mabel working through bricks, and now here comes the collapse, or might be waiting as Mabel comes for the challenge. He gets the win. PD gets shut down. GCPW have not put a foot inside P2. And now when we rotate to P3, it's really going to come down to these backline kills. All it takes is 1 or 2 breaks, and Belgium Power will have a 100-point lead. This is getting dangerous.
I wish Whalers would have played his life a little bit more there and wait for his teammates. I understand as well as only 20 seconds was left in P2. So instead, they went for the safe rotation. They set up incredibly early into the back, but Breezy has already snuck his way by and allowed his friend Siggy to put up the side, though time still going to the side of GCPW. The entire Belgian Power looking to hit from the front here. Finally, time going to the side of them as they are going to hopefully break the 20 points here. But Belgian Power, 83, they have a lot of wiggle room. Grouping together now, we're going to see a bit of a front push as Abusa finds one. GCPW, though, are looking to answer for their own, but they get cleared out of the hill. They played a little too far back in the spawn, but luckily they still have it. But Abusa finds two. He will get shut down, though. GCPW should get this final 20 seconds.
Yeah, and you needed a full 40 here to really get back in this game. It's going to be basically 86 to like 49 maybe. But even then, you'll take what you can get. And this is a damn good way to get back in this hard point. A full 40, 45 seconds on that P3. Now we rotate down to the floor. As Genesis is working through the back line, Lenny currently sitting on side of the tank. And, well, if he finds anyone cutting through caution, at that point, you open up the spread through the back. You play numbers on these pinches, and Brezzy can just roam. This is a great setup so far for Belgium Power, and everyone gets the kills they needed to maintain the hold on the opening hardpoint. First 10, 15 seconds going to Belgium Power's way. And Lenny has just been sitting here uncontested for what seems like 20 seconds. Finally, one will push through. PD won't survive for long, and he gets dropped.
Big rotation on Belgian Power as they now break the 100-point lead, and Lenny is just having time on a tank now as Maple finds two. GCPW need to have a concise push here together. It looks like they just keep getting picked off one by one as Genesis falls in mid. He's right off spawns. Maple finds one on the chain. Breezy finds one on the PD. And now all this time is going to side of Belgium Power. 125 to 44. 15 seconds left. One player GCPW is going to be in mid. That's going to be Genesis, but he doesn't seem to be finding anybody as he gets a couple shots in the back, but doesn't end up shutting anyone down.
139, make it 140 to 44. We go back to P1, excuse me, P5. I swear I know hard points. 6 and 10 for PD. More kills on the outskirts, but there hasn't been a solid hold inside for GCPW since that P3. They've gotten a couple of flurry kills, but they haven't chained them together to a hold as a team, and the team wipes have been there for Belgian Power. Every time you see a little bit of blue in the kill feed, it's met by 2 or 3 from Belgian Power. 10 and 5 for Maple in bricks. Bit of a power position if he stays alive long enough, and they rack up more time. 150 and counting. We need a break for GCPW. Maybe it comes here. Nope, Lenny's going to get it. There goes Chain, but your presence in lights is swiftly cut down. Abusa takes down one. This is going to be a dangerous spot to be in because, again, you go back to P1 here. Your ARs aren't in a position to contest the catwalk. Your subs aren't in lights, so you can't find any entries. 8 seconds to go, Ali. This spread at mid-map for Belgium Power, barring a full team wipe, should hold long enough to get them the lead, continuing into P1.
I thought this was going to be a rotation game as GCPW got that first couple of seconds for that early rotation, but Abusa, I mean, he just walked straight up in mid and broke the hill by himself and just allowed Belgium Power to get time off that. And sure, GCPW gets the last couple seconds of scrap time, but it's almost an 100-point game now. In a couple seconds, it will be. Belgium Power is just shutting them out, especially if they get that early rotation. Belgium Power has just not allowed them to even touch the hard points at that point. So GCPW, what's happening right now is they just keep stagger pushing. We see a couple signs of life when they full push like this, but if they keep stagger pushing like they have been most of this game, they're going to be looking at maybe an 100-point club here as only 20 seconds is left on this hill.
And now comes the rotation for GCPW. If you're Belgian Power, yeah, you rotate, give them those 20 seconds. You're already up by like 130. And now they will close in the gap, so 90 points away for GCPW, but that's 3 hills. We'll see how it goes. Push through bricks will fall. Abusa on your screen. Gonna rotate back. 3 kill on PD. One more working his way around it. Whalers and Chain. But with these shots and no kill, you're just wasting time in the hard point, which again, just continues this lead. And Lenny is more than happy to sit in the back and gun everyone. Lenny is 14 and 7. Does he turn around, recognize the contest? He does. Can he gun him with a Diamante? Yeah, he can. He gets the kill. He eventually falls. Here's the contest and the break. But once more, Brezzy works inside. It's a full team wipe. Belgian Power have the lead, and it's 2-0-3.
Absolutely no reason Lenny should stay alive there. There's absolutely no reason Lenny gets a free 3-piece there on the GCPW. That was just insanity. So not only does he stay alive and get 3 of them, it allows all of his teammates to push up in the green and regain control. So now as they break the 200-point mark, GCPW have to not only get this last couple scrap times, they have to make the rotation all the way across the map. Belgian Power not only have favorable spawns, but they are set up for next. Brezzy will get shut down in mid, but they're going to have to worry about Abusa who spawns behind them. It's probably going to shut a couple players down in the back. That's going to be Chain. Lenny finds one as well. spots should still be in favor of Belgium Power as all of GCPW spawn across the map. Abuser here looking to abuse that as he is in mid-map, trying to shut down a couple players before they can even make it to mid-pick. Abuse with 2.
Chain. Hi, buddy. That didn't go your way. 26-16, Abuser is just punching his way through this game. Consistently. All white in the kill feed. Chain on your screen, 13 and 8. 9 and 20 for Genesis. I hyped him up so much, and I know this is just a bad game, but my God. Certainly has not been the best start. It's 223 to 113. And again, this is a situation you're in for Belgium Power. You could basically play scrap time on every hill, right? Like, you could just play the next 3 hard points, just getting 10 or 12 seconds apiece. You don't have to constantly contest with 20 seconds to go.
And they don't even
you
have
could
to
fall
do
back
that.
and give him the time.
They don't even have to do that. GCPW is fighting for 14 seconds of scrap time for some reason, but they don't even have to play for scrap at this point. Belgium Power, I mean, they are 223 to 132.
Hold on a moment. That's a team wipe here. And with spawns so far back, all the way towards P5, if you recognize this in your GCPW, you get an AR in top green. You get a full 50 here. This game gets close.
Brezi's on a hunt right now by himself in mid. He's not getting taken down. He's just trying to connect shots onto somebody, but his teammates are just shutting them down before he gets a chance. Abuser 31 and 20 on a 3 spree, just absolutely taking over Garrison Hardpoint. 20 more seconds and Belgium Power putting themselves tied up in the series. We're going to game 5. GCPW, I mean, they have to play perfect Hardpoint here if they want to take this back, and it doesn't look like that's going to be happening anytime soon.
Yeah, we go to a new one. P5 again. Genesis with 2. Now is the time to turn up. You literally needed 9 points if you're Belgian Power. This would be one of the most impressive comebacks we've seen in Challengers if they pull this off. 1 hill at a time is all that's needed. And this is when you need everyone to slay at their best. Chain at 18 and 21. Make it 18, 19, 21 on a 3 spree. Not really close to streaks, but if he stays alive here, we could be talking about it. Spawns in the back. You should know this if you're Chain. Surprised he didn't rotate back out. And maybe he recognizes the push. 2 fly in. He's going to get at least 1. No, PD gets the contest and the assist. And PD drops. So it was a bit of a power hold there, but eventually just falls Genesis with 2. And the assist from Whalers. Someone get back in the hill and get this time. There we go. It'll be 200 to 241. 10 seconds to go. We're going to rotate to P1. And GCPW are in position to have early spawns. Belgian Power have not been able to break this setup. Finally, they get through bricks.
Genesis was on a 5 streak and he's 19 and 24. If that speaks any volumes on the pace change GCPW have managed to pull off here, they are now making it from a 100-point game to merely a 20-point game in a couple of seconds. Belgian Power needs to not panic here and play the way that they have been on P1. They cannot allow this time to go to the side of GCPW. 10 seconds between Belgian Power and GCPW for this to be a tied-up game, but here comes the cavalry. Maple does find 1. 4 players Belgium are going to force away, and Maple finds 2. He opens up the map. Genesis is looking to find 3. He gets traded out by Brezzy, though. But Brezzy is by himself. He has to win this gunfight against Chain. He doesn't do it. All of Belgian Power are in mid currently. They are going to have to get this collapse as Maple is doing everything he can to keep their team into this 243 to 230. Belgian Power could do it here. 10 seconds. They could win off this, but they have rotated. But streaks are going to get pinged by Genesis. He doesn't call them just yet because he knows he's going to need them in just a couple of seconds. Green, though, is in control by Belgian Power. GCPW have to get green control if they want to call these streaks, or else it's all she wrote. Chain finds 2. Streaks get called in. 3 players from Belgian Power do get the tick before streaks fall, though, and Belgian Power tie up the series 2-2, 250 to 235.
He hesitated on calling streaks. I think you call streaks in that situation because, yeah, you're hoping you come off spawn or at least you get a wipe, right? And then you use the streaks to secure the game. But you call those streaks to basically push them into bricks and push them into top green. And then you put your ARs and subs in a position where they can clean up those kills. Those streaks should have been used to basically push players out of the hard point. And because he waited till he respawned back up, they only needed 3 seconds. And at that point, the streaks didn't hit and everyone else died because they were waiting for that streak to allow them to move into the site. That is, it's a hard way for GCPW to fight back and closely lose that game. But Belgian Power did all of the hard work at the beginning. They did all the hard work to get to that point where all they need to do was sit inside and let GCPW use streaks. So sure, hindsight's 2020, but in the moment, maybe a better call could have been made. Regardless, Belgian Power tie it up We go to a Game 5 S&D. That hard point was as close as ever down the stretch, and that's what GCPW does so well, right? When the game gets close, when you think they're out of it, they just rebound. Unfortunately, the differential was too much to overcome, and you can't blame them for trying, but Belgian Power hold on off the back of really this hard point here. That's what kind of sealed it with Lenny, this huge three-piece, and then the collapse inside. It was so huge to put another 30, 40 points on the board, and everything rolled from that. So we go to a Moscow S&D for Game 5, and now we wonder how will this series end, because with how back and forth it's been, Allie, I don't think anyone can really predict what's going to happen.
It's absolutely insane how many times we see hard points like that, where there'll be one team who just has complete control throughout the entire map. Just, you know, they get their early rotations, they're outslaying the other team, but then just somehow the other team just sneaks right back up with a couple lucky chain of events that just puts them in optimal position to possibly run away with a game that they had no business winning. And it is unfortunate with the streak calls for sure. I think it's kind of was a 50-50 chance there. If he calls in there, then it's just a little too early, or if he pings them, it gets them off the hard point thinking they're coming, and then, you know, he stays alive a little bit, tries to get green control, and then calls them in for the flood in. I see what he was trying to do. Unfortunately, they just couldn't execute it in time. They didn't have the cavalry there in green to get that control, and they just didn't have the situation to work in their favor. And now as we head into the map 5, I'm personally still favoring Belgian Power. I was favoring them in the hard point, and they won it, even though not quite convincingly near the end. I think they could absolutely run with this series, Spaceman.
Well, we'll see how it happens, Allie, as currently we sit in a Game 5. No first bloods yet. GCPW, Belgian Power. This map will decide who plays Team War and loses round 2. And it's a 3-kill off the start. Genesis going to get one back, but in a 3v1 with bomb down. I mean, what the hell do you do here?
I mean, with the way Genesis has been playing, if anybody's going to do this 1v3, it could be him. Resi looking at a situation, but instead he just gets shot in the back, turning tail and running. Belgian Power looking to continue their momentum, going up 1-0 in S&D in Game 5.
Risk control is so big. We talked about it all year on this map. With how Moscow plays, if you have a sub or an AR who's competent in that position, I mean, it basically locks down A. It's impossible to retake if you don't move that player out. So you try to throw nades, try to flush, but even then, it's not always guaranteed. Who will be the bomb carrier for Belgian Power as they go on the offensive for the first time this game? Lenny is going to be the call. 2-0 spree for him. And once more, we go to A. You know, we kind of got spoiled with the Team War Elevate match, where B was often the decision. But this is much more standard for Moscow. However, we have a bunch up currently around the site. One bad nade is all it needs, Moscow. However, we have a bunch up currently around the site. One bad nade is all it needs. Petey gonna peek. Petey gonna get one. Here comes the fly out, and Lenny's at Bricks. Brizzy gets 2. Chain gets 2. Back and forth to a 1v1. Bricks control for Maple, and Genesis is in the back.
Maple and Genesis, what a 1v1 that we are about to witness here. Siggy, he has an information of where they is, but he gets picked off in bad timing by Genesis, so now tied up 1-1. Very scrappy team fights going down at this A site here as we see all the tacticals get thrown out, no trophies on either side, and just an absolute mess between Resi and Chain as they both found 2 on their respective sides.
Some silky shots right there. If I saw that, yeah, I'd probably rethink my career at some point if I was getting gunned like that. But back and forth we go, 1-1. 2 kills for Genesis, who had a great rebound in the end of that hard point, right? We talked about the fact that he was like 10 and 20, but he roared back and really helped push that team the distance. Here we go again to A. This time, though, it's a 2 split. 2 bottom bank near P1. Resi currently watched the hop up. If he finds this, that's bomb down, and he can't get the shots nor the COD timing. So PD's going to escape, but they're still trying to push the issue at B. They really want to run right up the gut. It comes down to whether Resi drops or not.
Resi trying to pull off what we hoped Metals was going to be able to do in our last series. He does stay alive, though, as Bomb is now making his way towards the A site. Complete control in the hands of GCPW. Number 5, though, that's going to be Lenny all the way in the back garden. He might get some timing here on a couple players if they decide to push out without checking that corner. Bomb will get planted. Genesis does get barely sought out by Lenny, now opening up just a little bit for both sides. PD's on a hunt for Lenny, though. He does get that kill go through. 3v1. Abuse on his own. He is in the front side of A site. He could get timing here on a couple players. If he isolates these gunfights, that's 1. Was almost lucky, but the trade does come in as he gets shot in the back. GCPW now up 2-1.
Slow and steady wins the race. Hold your positions and trust your instincts. As Chain finds 1, make it 2, and the best kill of the round, best play of the round. And so far, the team trades have been there, right? You get Genesis in a 1v1. He holds his position, wins the round. 2 in a row for GCPW. 1 round at a time is all it needs for both sides. Belgium Power still in this one, obviously. It's only round number 4. We keep on rolling. Who will be bomb carrier? Lenny. We'll see how they play it, because A was kind of the call off the start for both teams, but now it looks like we're going back to a little bit more of a standard mid-game situation for Moscow S&D. Now we're thinking about pushing to B, and how do we play through mid-map? Well, Genesis might get lucky, and if he gets this kill and bomb is down here, that's a horrible position for Belgium Power to be in. They'll trade nades, but Brezzy, free kill. He's going to get first blood.
Beautiful collapse from Belgium Power. I mean, I just watched how patiently all these players are playing as Lenny was just kind of baiting Genesis to continue throwing tacticals and waiting for him to peek that window as Brezzy just snuck his way through mid and ended up finding 2. Beautiful play out of Belgium Power to tie up this S&D. Gonna watch Maple get a kill on Whalers. Beautiful shots as he wasn't expecting it, I'm sure. Switching sides now. It's Chain doing a lot more than I expected out of him for sure. 4 and 3. Trying to pull his team through it just a bit.
Just a bit. The Whalers are 0-4. Again, not something that's probably affecting the game too much, but when we start getting into these kind of rounds, yes, it does. Bomb carrier PD. Lenny's going to be the only one over at A, and if he spots anything, he might back up again and regroup with Brezzy. And at that point, you try to work through Eskies together. Same thing could be said about Chain and how B would be played. Stuns fly out, but no information yet. No dry peeks either. Both sides very slowly moving their way towards the site. If Lenny spots anything at bricks, this is what's going to open up the round here. PD's going to fly on in, put bomb down. And here comes Brezzy as a guardian angel, but Lenny backs up. And Abuza working up Eskies. Here comes the collapse. The pinch in the back. And playing spoiler on site gives him the advantage.
I love that free kill and then that backup back onto Eskies, but Chain's going to be behind them. He will find Fable, but Abuza does manage to stay alive. Now in a 1v2, Chain's going to be coming from escalators. Hopefully the call out is there. The trade will come through. Abuza finds him, and now the defuse will go through. I was a little confused on the sub play through Long Garden, as usually you'd see an AR back there to get a couple headshots through to that corner, but Lenny will get taken down and traded out. Abuza sitting at 5 and 2, and Brezzy sitting at 6 and 2. Belgian Power looking to maybe run away with this. 2 to 3. They are up.
We talked about someone said he wins the race, and again, site control has been there. First blood as well, but Abuser working up Eskies, getting that first kill to kind of take out that backline defense, that at least where bomb was planted. And GCPW struggle to respond. Whalers at 1 and 5. Across the board, though, 6 and 2 for Brezzy, leading the lobby, but pretty simple and even for everyone. No one having a bad game. Even the 1 and 5, I would not consider that a bad game. It's just a slow start. And with how these rounds can go, with just the turn of a button and kind of flipping that switch for Whalers, it could open up this entire Game 5 for GCPW.
Genesis was hoping to maybe just absolutely shut down Lenny on that long street, but he does manage to stay alive. Now both of them have a little bit of information on where the others are. A lot of A control going to the side of Belgium Power, though. There's 3 members pushed up in escalators already. Bomb going to make its way towards the A side as 1 and 4 in GCPW. That's going to be Genesis and Whalers are deep in the back of their spawn still, so a little bit of a life advantage on Belgium Power if they look to take over this A side and get this bomb down quickly. Whalers ends up coming in for the assist, though, but Lenny finds one before he gets the chance. Whalers unable to get the shots onto Brezzy or to Maple, so he now gets turned and shut down by Maple. He finds 2. That's all of GCPW down. Belgium Power, just a beautiful setup out of them.
Very clinical on the site. And here you go with Maple with 2 and the best kill of the round. Well, things are pretty standard right now. I mean, it's just team trades, right? I hate to say this, but halfway through that round, I was thinking, if Draza is just Hazard backwards, is Abuza just Hazuba backwards? That's all I was thinking about. I'd like to call him Azuba, but...
Go ask him. I'm sure he'll be okay with that.
He's getting close to streaks.
Abuza and Brezzy, I mean, 12 and 4 respectively at this point. Bomb making its way towards A.
Now, Allie, what do you do here? Well, again, post-plan positioning will be there for GCPW, and they're worried about, yeah, that push from top Eskies. what would you do in the situation is you're playing with bombs to your front, but to the back of the defense?
Well, there's two situations here, which looks like Belgian Power is going to go for the first one, where they fled through the front because number 4 Whalers is all the way deep in spawn, so they could have the life advantage here, but unfortunately they're getting traded out just a little bit too much. Another route that they could have taken was Abusa was mid-map, so he could have gone the long route and maybe gotten that kill on the Whalers, but not that they needed to, as they just clean up the entire roster of GCPW and get the defuse. And GCPW were in a favorable position. I mean, they were stacked on the point with bomb planted. They had Esky control, and they had one player in the back watching the rotation and able to push up to help them with the team fights. So, I mean, Belgian Power just outgunning here at this point. The trades just obviously going in their favor. Shane falls there on staircase, which is a huge win for the side of Belgian Power. And then Whalers trying to help from spawn just gets picked off on that rotation. So very unfortunate for GCPW.
Abuse has been a menace in this entire S&D. I mean, he's the MVP of game number 5, and he has streaks. You're one round away, if you're Belgian Power, from completing a reverse sweep. It started in the control. It worked in the hard point. You're up 5-2. One single round, and you will move on to lose round 3. Or round 2. I remember. Round 2. And you will play Team War for a chance at the single elimination bracket tomorrow. The playoff bracket is that. First blood to Lenny. 3 more kills is all you need. And Belgian Power will send GCPW back home.
GCPW really not wanting to play Team War again, as they are looking to get reverse swept here by Belgian Power. Streaks are now going to get pinged as well. Just to get a little bit of information, they aren't going to get called in. Looks like the decision is to go to the 8 site. They will get answered by Chain, but unfortunately, he will probably get traded out here in just a second if he decides to play with Fire. PD ends up helping him out, but he gets shut down, and no assist by Chain, and Whalers is going to be across the map, which I feel like has been the tail just a little bit too much. Whalers being a little bit just left behind. He finds a kill on the Brezzy, though. He could find the kill on the Maple as well if he gets the timing. Unfortunately, he was calling a tactical. Belgium Power 6-2 end up pulling off the reverse sweep onto GCPW to keeping themselves in.
They pull off the reverse sweep, started in the control, ends with a 6-2 win in Game 5 on Moscow. And for a team that's backs are against the wall quite literally through this series, they blow the doors open in that Garrison Hardpoint. It was like a 200-point lead. They weren't slowing down. It got close in the end, but they handled their business. Lenny and Abusa, you can thank for that. They were lights out in these last couple of games, and Abusa puts on 8 kills, possibly 9 in that Game 5. Fox, as we take a look at this bracket, man, recap kind of that last 2 games for me. I mean, GCPW, heartbreaking way to kind of end Season 5, but Belgian Power, the kind of the poise and the resilience, right? Coming back down 0-2. They win it 3-2. They're going to play Team War. That's going to be an interesting series.
That's right. Belgian Power, they deny GCPW that second opportunity to play up against War, and they're going to take that chance themselves. What we saw in that series was just the Abuser show, especially in Search and Destroy. I mean, they kept Whalers killless up till, what was it, maybe round 5, maybe round 6 of that Search and Destroy. At the very least, it was 2-2, and that's got to be really frustrating to deal with. I mean, when you're able to shut down a major key player to the opposite team, and you got someone like Buser running around stacking up score streaks, you got every advantage going on for you right there, and you're able to close it out.
Every single advantage. Love the way you put that, Fox. And again, we are continuing to see how all these teams set out. And for Team War versus Belgian Power, this is the match you have trying to avoid, but now you have to play it. Now you must play one another. And whoever wins this will be joining Elevate tomorrow in the playoff bracket. And more importantly, a chance at fighting for $20,000 for first place. But until we continue on with Team War versus Belgian Power, we have to go to a commercial break. And when we come back, we find out who the victors will be and who will be meeting Elevate tomorrow. Welcome back from the break, everybody. This is the European Knockout Bracket. Today, we got a lot of matches to go through and a lot of fun stuff to talk about. I'm Spaceman, that is Fox and Alley, and up next, we continue on. We've seen the conclusion of GCPW and Belgium Power. We saw the conclusion of Team War and Elevate moves into tomorrow. They're all good to go. Now we sit with Belgium Power and Team War. Those two teams will be playing head-to-head. Loser goes home. Winner moves to the playoff bracket tomorrow. Single elimination from there. Welcome back to the stream. Let's talk about it, folks. Fox, looking at this matchup ahead, Team War, Belgium Power. It's going to be a tough one for Team War. Belgium Power can resurge late. They're very, very good at late-game situations, and the slaying has been there for Team War. Not so much going into today.
Yeah, Team War, they're looking about half as good as they usually do. Like this is an excellent roster of guys, but today they are not showing up in this competition. Of course, we did see the 3-0 victory that they took over GCPW, but Belgium Power showing that they can do similar, they can show similar results. And coming into this matchup here, I think that we're seeing a weakened Team War. I think that we're seeing a bit of a deflated Team War. But I certainly do not count out their resilience. Every time we're on broadcast talking about Team War, I have to highlight these guys will go the distance. They can play a long game of Call of Duty and still come out just fine. So I see that they got 3-0'd. I see that they're hurt right now, but I don't see them out of this tournament just yet.
And Allie, looking at the map layout we have here, I see Standoff and Garrison back to back, and that again throws me back to the Team War matchup versus GCPW earlier today, where they won the Garrison Hardpoint in game 1, but in games 2 and 3, it was Standoff S&D and Garrison Control. They won both of those, so at least you can fall back on a potential if you lose the Apocalypse. You fall back on 2 maps that you certainly have reps in and have successful reps in. Do you see that happening in the series?
Well, personally, I look at the map that we're loading into right now, Apocalypse Hardpoint, and that's something Belgium Power, I believe, lost in their last series early. So I wonder if Team War is looking to capitalize on that, if maybe that was their pick. So I feel like either way, this first Hardpoint might not be all she wrote for this series just because of the Garrison and Moscow later on going in. But as we hop into the action, it is going to be Belgium Power that touches the point first, but Lucky does find that first kill onto Brezzy. A couple of trades start going out, but no time going to either side just yet.
Maple, huge part of the success of this Team War roster. Of course, we've mentioned in the past just how crucial he is to the success of this team, but also crucial to the success of this broadcast are our wonderful observers, Shane and Prosper, bringing you the best of perspectives in map after map, series after series. Thank them so much, Shane and Kyle, excuse me, bringing us so much of the action here every single week for the Call of Duty Challenger Elite Series and throughout the COD League. You need to respect these guys and know what they contribute to the team. So, hopping back into the game, we're looking to the perspective of Lucky for Team War. He's got some players just around the corner. Highest kill player in the lobby at the moment, 4-1. And he sat in a pretty close choke point with the Krieg, but no one is foolish enough to turn that corner. You see the remaining players start to back off, and that's when Lucky pounces. He picks up the AK-74U, finds Maple before being traded out, and now it's Belgium Power in control of the Hardpoint.
Huge gunfight win by Lenny in the back spawn there as he was able to secure spawns for Belgium Power once again by shutting down the members of Team War, pushing their way through the back. So Belgium Power looking to put themselves right back into this game as they tie it up 30-30. Team War trying to funnel into this back point, but Maple is not having any of it as he shuts down to 2 and Brezzy gets his trade. Belgium Power now in the lead, still 36 on the hard point. Not have to worry about rotation just yet, but will here soon as they're going to have to trek their way all the way across the map through the front line of Team War. Ideal situation here for Belgium Power is to allow Team War to push to the back and flip those spawns as they go on a long rotation. It looks like that might be what happens as Lenny was looking to make his way out, but Journey answers with a 2-piece of his own. Now only 10 seconds left on this point. The front line of Team War is looking to get that early rotation.
Maple holding it down. He's able to reserve that scrap time for the Belgium team. Now, with a few seconds remaining, we take a look at our new hardpoint and who's in control. It's Team War already in position, waiting in defensive stances at the moment. They do have a player behind them. That's Brezzy. He is the first to fall. So getting the player out of the back line does maintain that spawn onto this hill for when their players fall. You can see player number 5, Lucky, is able to hop right back into the action after being taken out. Of course, he will get into this hardpoint outnumbered, and fighting 1v2, he'll die. And this leaves Team War with a pretty staggered push for this in this next attempt of breaking the hard point. Lucky's going to go all the way around.
That was such an unfavorable situation for Belgian Power because not only did Brezzy get taken down and turned on in the back when he had a favorable spawn, then one fell as well in the front, but Maple on his own was able to take down 3 members of Team War, clean it up, and secure the time. Not only that, he is on a 6 spree, 11-3. I said Maple was a bit of a game changer when it came to him turning up, and that is exactly what he's looking to do. Not only that, has 41 seconds in objective time, 1-4. Lenny and Brezzy are going to be looking to make that early rotation. As combined, they find 2, and Maple is already going to look to call in his score streaks to secure a larger lead than they have already gained, 108 to 44. Belgian Power once again with a very hot early start in the hardpoint.
Maple claims 7 in a row to himself with score streaks before falling. We're going to talk a little bit about Belgian Power here as they do cross the 100-point mark. This is a team that was just able to take down GCPW with a core of players, Genesis and PD, that we've seen time and time again throughout the European region here for the Challenger Elite Series. Of course, on Obtained Esports, on 3G, they're facing off against Team War, who has also been around in our Challenger Elite Series under a number of different names. Of course, we've seen Rams, we're seeing War now, and what we're seeing is Team War with a little bit of a resurgence, now only down by about 60 seconds as they look to be in a stellar position to get the rest of the scrap time. That is going to be determined as to what Journey and Yako are able to do here, as they're surrounded by 2 Belgian players that are waiting from the turn the corner.
Definitely a lot more life out of Team War than we saw earlier out of them, but once again, they're on a fine line of reliving that hard point from earlier. They are still not breaking the 100 point just yet. Not only that, they are late on rotation in Belgian Power. Once they have their rotation, this is a very, very hard team to break. Yako slips his way in. Is he going to win the gunfight? He does. He has help from his teammates, and they're able to lock into this hard point with 40 seconds on the clock. This could easily put them back into this game, but Belgian Power isn't going to let it go that easily, trying to track their way all the way across the map is going to be all the members of Belgian Power, as 7 and 5 Journey and Lucky are spawning so far away from the hardpoint. They have favorable spawns, but when Belgian Power cleans up 3 like that and the kill feed blows white, that's going to be all she wrote.
Maple doing a lot of damage there. We saw Metals peppering shots from above to try and support Yako in the hardpoint, but it just wasn't enough. The gun is too strong in the hands of Lenny and Maple as they're able to clear it out, maintain control of the hardpoint, and extend that lead a bit further. Scrap time gets them to about 150 as we rotate to the next hardpoint, still maintaining the 60-point lead. Team War looking to work through the same deficit they found themselves in the previous hill, but they do get the initial time on this hardpoint, and so far they got first blood. Metals opens it up with a kill on Buza.
A little bit of a slip up from Belgian Power to put so much towards that last couple of scrap time on the old hill, but they have 50 seconds to work with, so as they break in to P1 once again, they're able to make that lead just a little bit larger. Again, Team War showing a lot more life than we saw out of them earlier, but just not enough. Lucky 13 and 12, Metals 12 and 11, Journey 13 and 13. Yako once again having a slow start at 7 and 14 in the hardpoint. You just cannot be doing that at this caliber of Call of Duty gameplay. Belgian Power now about to break the 180 mark, going maybe into 200 as there's 14 seconds left on the point. This time, though, in this second set of rotations, Team War is going to be the first in the P2 hill. Now, Belgian Power, how are they going to answer this? By pushing through the front, of course, but they are spawning very deep across the map, so this should be an optimal money hill for Team War.
That's right, Ali. You mentioned Yako, the newest addition to this team on Team War, of course, replacing NVIDIA, and as we've spoken about quite a bit in the last few weeks, they are on the opposite side. For Belgium, we see Maple still at double positive, and we are well into this hard point as Belgium look to hit that 200-point mark, and Maple is still on pace to be the first player to hit 20 kills. Journey, though, one of the more active submachine gun players that you should expect to see this type of performance, is also well on his way to getting 20 kills. Constantly moving, bobbing, and weaving, he is making a difference and trying to shore up some of this deficit that Team War have ahead of them. We see player number 4, Brezzy, just around the corner, will be the next one in the action. Buza, his support, actually falls behind him, and Journey follows it up with with a second kill, for 2 players that fall in the back line, awarding Team War with just that much more time. And you see that lead, it's shrinking. Belgium Power had a stellar start, but Team War are willing to go the distance, and they are resilient enough to fight to the end.
That is almost a full 60 on P2 going to the side of Team War, and that is what they need to put themselves back in this game. Now only a 30-point deficit. Unfortunately, Yako did try to go on an early rotation when there was 30-second scrap time. He was going to try and get that early first couple of rotational kills, but he did get picked off by Lenny, so unfortunately that didn't work out in their favor. And Belgian Power now will break the 200-point mark. Team War do force their way in, though, with a couple of kills going their way, but Belgian Power is spawning behind them, so the clap should come here quite soon. But again, it is only a 30-point game. Team War has crawled their way back into this hard point and maybe looking to take it before Belgian Power is able to get it out of hand. 3 players go down on the side of Team War, and now that time's going to be on Belgian Power. Only 20 seconds left, though. Rotations out of both sides need to start going out, as Abuza is the only member of Belgian Power trying to stay alive at this new hard point, as he finds 2 huge wins for the side of Belgian Power to maybe run away with it here.
Maple been slowed down quite a bit, I should say, as he falls to yet another kill from Journey, as the top 3 players from Team War have been able to surpass him in kills at this point. Buza, as well as trying to put his hat into the ring, Brezzy has already passed all of them at 20 and 22, a very high engagement game from him, and certainly a huge part of why Belgian Power constantly has a presence around the objective, except for the 60-second hold that we saw from Team War previously. So now as Belgian Power creep closer and closer to the conclusion of this game at 250 points, we have to see Team War answer back. They felt they had a great resurgence in the previous hardpoint, but it seems like Belgian Power just looking to lock this one up.
Belgian Power, a very aggressive team, hasn't let Team War get too many holds as well. 3 players once again fall inside Team War. They have yet to shut down Abuza. He is at 18 and 20, but I'm sure he's found half his kills on this point alone. Team War have to break in here. They're going to be unable to. Belgian Power take the first hard point, 250 to 173, already a lead in this series. Team War, again, looking a little bit better than we had saw them earlier, but just not good enough.
Yeah, and right there what we saw was there's just that hot start from Belgium. They hit the ground running and just had that lead to play around with the whole game. Even moments where Team War were stringing together a good number of kills, they were still fighting through that deficit that they had set themselves up with when they let Maple just run through them for the first few minutes of the game. But you saw, as he got to around that 16 or 17 kill mark, he wasn't quite able to break 20 because on the opposite side, the Team War players were really giving it to him. I mean, that big resurgence of time if they got onto the clock was huge for them, but there was just too much bad to work through when they had that small victory, Ali.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a huge change in our second rotation. They got into that P2, and Team War was able to almost get a full 60 on that point, the biggest money hill on our Apocalypse hardpoint map. They were able to get almost all of it, which really put them back into the game. But unfortunately, Belgian Power plays incredibly similar to Elevate, and I think Team War just wasn't able to answer to that just as properly as yet this early in the series, again, after going off of that 0-3 loss. And now they're down 1-0 in the series, and I believe this was probably a map that they would have favored. So now as we look to go into the Search and Destroy, Team War, this is the same situation they were in before. They need to stop the bleeding now, Fox, and I'm wondering, what do you think they have to do? What's their win condition in this series?
That's right. I think the Team War shake off that hard point. It was still a hard-fought hard point, rough start, but that's all right. It happens. If you make this series go the distance, you get a second chance. And really, as we've seen before, that's all that Team War has needed. We've seen them go to Game 5 against some of the toughest competition in Europe. Of course, you cannot forget the Standoff Search and Destroy round 10 from just a few weeks ago between Team War and Orglis. Journey with an awesome double kill on Delhi on Standoff. I mean, these guys can just pull off some crazy things when their backs are against the wall, so you cannot count them out. On the other hand, we're taking a look at Belgian Power, Ali, and I know that you certainly favor them in this series. They're looking great right now, especially with how hot Maple's playing.
Yeah, usually when I looked at Belgian Power, I looked at them kind of similar to the teams we saw earlier in GCPW, where they kind of have one duo of Maple and Lenny that kind of is what carries the team usually. Usually that duo is what you talk about mostly when they start winning games, and on the same thing of GCPW, you know, we have the duo of Genesis and PD. But the thing about the Belgian Power I'm seeing now is the changes they've made. All of them are now doing much more on the map. I'm saying Buza a lot more, staying alive in the objective and just being annoying. He's unable to get taken down. He plays very well with his teammates. He gets the damage in. Sometimes it doesn't even look like he's looking to finish the kill. He's just trying to help his teammates get on the point with him and help him out get that wipe. And Brezzy as well, he has been getting 2 pieces, 3 pieces. He has been a game changer. Stack that on top of the likes of Lenny and Maple. Belgian Power looked like a much scarier team than anticipated going into this.
That's right. Belgium Power, they seem to be very well coordinated, at least in this Apocalypse Hardpoint so far. But I also got to say that I think that Team War in the first minute or two of this game, they just looked kind of frazzled, right? They had those staggered pushes. They allowed themselves to die 1v2 in the Hardpoint and leave their teammates to have to fight outnumbered on the objective. And that just ended up feeding Maple more and more. And he was well satiated with those score streaks. And, it was just a really tough situation for them to have to dig themselves out of. So I have to ask, Ali's going into the search and destroy, moving away from respawn, slowing it down kind of. I think that Team War has had a bit of a rough start so far to the tournament. What do you think is their greatest weapon coming into game 2 here against Belgium?
Their greatest weapon is going to be Journey and Lucky. I feel like Yako all day has just been having a bad day, and Metals as well has had a bit of a slow start, and so it's really just going to come on the backs of Lucky and Journey at this point. And I know we've been having to talk about Yako a lot just because of the numbers he has been putting up. And watching the gameplay, I just feel like he needs to find his place better in this team. I feel like sometimes he's trying to fill a role that just doesn't fit his play style. Like I said, I saw him doing an early rotation at 30 seconds and getting picked off and not really making that much of an impact on the map during our hard point. I'm looking, hopefully, maybe he plays with his team a little bit better here. Maybe finds his place a little bit more going into this search and destroy. And again, a little bit of a revival, hopefully, out of him, because Team War desperately needs that momentum flip and needs it here, especially after the way their day has gone.
It's interesting you point out Yako and the difference in his play style, especially when we compare it to another submachine gun on his team being Journey. Journey's usually in the front lines. Journey doesn't care what direction you're coming from. He's in the front line and will take you down. Yako is someone that can often be a lurker. He's someone that will go for that flank, the early rotation. And we'll have to see if it works out for him this time as we hop back into Standoff. Good old Black Ops 2 map. We're hopping into the first offensive round for the side of Belgium, looking through the perspective of Brezzy, who's got several players around the corner. No competition, no follow-up right there as Lucky falls immediately. And Brezzy, he can just hold this position as long as he'd like.
I was excited for that first blood on Metals, and now he finds 2. Oh my god, as soon as I blinked, Team War wiped the rest of Belgian Power off of the map. What a beautiful start out of them, and exactly what they needed for a little bit of a flip. We're going to watch that first blood again. Adam Metals just shaving off the top of Lenny, manages to stay alive and gets Brezzy as well. That angle is very unfortunate. Brezzy, we'll see you later. Huge start out of Metals, who hasn't really had too much of a lights out games so far, so huge to see him go on a 3 spree already. Big momentum push for the side of Team War.
Beautiful movement from Metals right there, securing his 3rd of 3 kills that round, and that double kill that you saw, of course, just kind of flowing from one position to the next, understanding that the trade kill, the follow-up will be there with the players being positioned on a site. Metals is also going to take down Lenny off the start to make that 4 in a row. Yako comes up to support him, front Brown, but will also fall. Buza ends up holding down to this power position. Journey, again, in the front line, always in the mix. He's there to follow up the kill. And of course, we see the bomb in hand now as well, with Maple on your screen left in a 1 versus 2.
Belgian Power getting picked off, it seems, in very awkward positions in the middle of the map. And they got a couple kills and trades going their way. If there's anything about Belgian Power you take away, it's the fact that they are incredibly good at team trading out. But on a map like Standoff, that isn't always going to work in your favor, as Maple is stuck in a 1v2. If anybody can do it, it's going to be Maple, as he finds a couple shots onto Journey but doesn't take him down. Maple has a couple seconds. He gets a kill on Metals, but thankfully Journey gets that trade go through. Team War not going up 2-0 in the S&D, not looking to go out quietly.
Definitely not. We see the play call to go over towards Tractor, get this bomb planted. And playing out the 1v2, they set up the crossfire. They knew where Maple was coming from. Journey was just able to play the numbers game and have his support on Tractor just next to him there in a defensive position. Once again, that was a lot of that is hinging off of the success that Journey found in Brown Courtyard, where he was able to take down Buza, finding the trade kill for his teammates. So the communication from Team War right there, extending their lead further, 2-0. Metals does die last round, 4 kills in a row. He was only able to find the first one, that first blood in the previous round. Have to look and see what they do differently this time around, as several players from Belgium seem to prioritize Brown here. They will be met with 2 on Delhi and 2 on the A site. Kind of split up here, the defenses of Team War, and that's going to be up to Belgium to suss out.
Metals and Journey 7-1 together respectively. Journey is on a 3 spree. He has yet to fall, so he's looking to hopefully stay alive here in Cafe. Belgian Power playing a little bit slow here in mid-map. Brezzy knows where Journey is and just getting a couple shots out to kind of keep him in place, not allow him to push his way towards the site. Bomb kind of by itself on B, though. Two members of Team War are going to be there, so the information is going to go through to Lucky as he finds that kill. Fortunately, Belgium Power seems that they have pushed up on the A side to get the control, but that bomb is down and out at B. None of the kills going their way. Lucky finds Brezzy. 2v4. Belgian Power, only so much you can do here. You're spread off across the map. Abusa is about to be in a 2v1. He gets a couple shots through, but the trade does go on to him. Lucky is now finding 3 in a row for himself as well. A completely different Team War here as we're watching this. Maple looking to get some gas over here at the gas station. 12 seconds on the clock. Bomb is in hand, but it looks like he's just going to wait out the clock.
Yeah, it looks like Belgium's running on E so far in this search and destroy. We saw Lucky and Metals right there, the duo in tandem. Were able to push through a site in a really stellar fashion. Of course, just over the shoulder of one another. The team shot was always there for both of those engagements, and it just really spelled trouble for the remaining Belgian players, having to stay so far back. We were seeing some of the action here again as Lucky, just a commanding presence on this tank here.
Belgian Powers are definitely making decisive playmaking calls here, but it just seems sometimes that they're all looking a little bit of the same way, and allows Team Warriors kind of get that first blood and just pick them off a little bit whenever they go on a rotation. And the open way, the way that Standoff works, is playing in favor of Team Warriors. Belgian Power are trying so much to group together and pull off their strats on either of the sites, but unfortunately, time has not been on their side. Bomb, though, in the hand of Lucky for Team War. Journey's going to get some information on Belgian Power. He manages to stay alive, though. Shots go out. Maple does find first blood on to Lucky. Bomb was down and out. Oh.
There's the flank. Round's not safe. Journey stuck, trapped, pinched from both sides, and we see the back door is the entryway of choice as Belgium is able to force Brezzy through here. Still a nuisance. They got to sniff him out. They do it. He still takes him down. 2 kills straight. Belgium Power. The flank through gas gets them their first round win in this search and destroy. Love the play call. Love the confidence. Just keep committing to it. Even though you were found out, Journey had shots on them. Journey was, of course, communicating it. But he was also one of the first to fall, Ali.
I'm actually shocked that the flank ended up working in their favor because Team War saw the cross right off the bat. Journey tried to get that kill very, very early, and he managed to stay alive. And the fact that calling that out and still got no help from his teammates, they not only expected the flank, but still lost to it. Belgian Power now finally on the board. Down 3-1, however, not impossible. Linny having a bit of a slow start, but that's okay. He's been doing enough thus far, and the Hardpoint as well. Maple 4-2, as consistent as ever. Already some aggressive gunfights going out in mid. Tacticals getting thrown, but nobody tagged up and down just yet. Brezzy, though, looking to fall here as he is incredibly weak, just trying to get shots out. Maple saves the day, takes down Journey, and Abusa finds one in the back. That is now 3 down for the side of Team War, leaving Metals in a 1v3. Belgian Power looking to flip the script here.
1 versus 3 situation. Metals does find a couple of isolated gunfights here, but of course expect him to be bait and switched 1 or 2v1 just like that. And Belgium will find their second round win in this search and destroy. Chaining 2 together, they do put themselves right back into this game. The lead that we saw was off the back of a deathless start from the likes of Lucky and Journey as well. But we saw the flank through gas, and a lot of the combat going on around Brown has been going in favor of Belgium so far in this search and destroy. Once again, if you're just tuning in, about the halfway point of this search and destroy is what we've reached, and we're seeing Belgium Power up 1-0 in the series. They're starting to come back now in this search and destroy after chaining 2 rounds together. Maple was a big part of their success in the Hardpoint. We're seeing it once again here in search and destroy with 4 straight. Lucky, as well, as we're looking through his perspective for the side of Team War, is the bomb carrier, and so far a force of a presence with this AR, particularly around the A site, which he will be prioritizing on this offense here. He has been spotted on statue, though, and you see the utility already raining down upon him, but the support of his trophy system keeping him alive. No ground gain just yet, no first blood, alley, as everyone's playing so carefully here.
Lucky kind of out on an island on his own right now as he's at statue, not only by himself, but with the bomb as well. And with only 40 seconds on the clock, he's going to have to make some movement as he pushes up the mid site here. Maple should get an angle on him in just a moment as 3 members of Belgian Power are there, but Team War is looking to put it in their favor. Again, nobody has dropped yet. 30 seconds on the clock. Very rarely do we see an S&D go out this long without somebody falling. gunfights in mid, but nobody has fallen still. They all know where they are, but nobody's able to finish the kill. Lucky finally falls with bomb in mid. Belgian Power able to take advantage of the situation. Lenny finds 2, and that should be all she wrote for this round on the side of Team War. Metals is going to try and live through this 1v3, but it's not looking very favorable.
They're able to clear out Delhi. Metals, the lone survivor from that engagement, but of course being outnumbered and outgunned. That's just going to let Belgian Power tie it up again at 3-3. That's 3 straight rounds now as they answer back to Team War's hot start. Again, that was off the back of Lucky and Journey. But you see Journey, one of his favorite positions on this map being Delhi and Brown, always going to see the submachine gun player around those 2 parts. Being taken down, actually without a single kill. They were not able to defend or control Delhi at all in that situation. In Belgium, they're going to walk away with a round win again. 5 straight for Maple. This guy's just nuts right now.
Belgian Power doing what we wish to see out of Team War in our earlier series today, as they were able to flip the switch in their favor now as they tie up the game, winning 3 rounds in a row. Again, Maple's on a 5 streak, 7-2, whereas on Team War, no streaks on that side. Yaka 1-4, once again, still having a slow start. Metals, though, 6-4, kind of coming alive more so than we saw from him earlier. Lucky and Journey 3-5 and 4-3, doing what they need to on the map. Now, nobody has fallen just yet, but there's still a minute on the clock. Bomb is going to be mid-sights, but Metals finds 2, so now suddenly what was maybe a favorable situation on the B site for Belgian Power, they all fall. Now a 2v3 as Maple is able to find 1. Once again, one of the most consistent players I feel like we've seen in the EU region, just constantly putting up numbers and keeping his team in rounds that they shouldn't be in. Now, 2v3. Bomb is going to make its way towards the backside of B.
Moving over to the B site. We see Maple and Lenny slowly but surely creeping their way through it. Careful for these long lines of sight through the middle of the map. Lenny still firing from downtown with the AK-74U, of course, giving away his presence. Now they have to know that the action is over towards the A-bomb site. Trophy system down on the ground just next to his feet, and around the corner the challenge comes in. Yako doesn't even shoot back. Lenny finds a double kill in that engagement. There's still 1 on L wall. Journey is looking for the trade, but the time does run out. Journey survives, and Team War is going to get the round win.
Time saved Team War in that round, especially when Lenny was shooting like that. Absolutely no reason for him to win that gunfight. Although the round went in Team War's favor, the momentum definitely went to the side of Belgian Power. Team War now do have a round lead, but once again, Belgian Power have just been changing the pace completely in their favor. Maple still has yet to fall. He is on a 6 streak. Now Lenny on his own is on a 2 streak after that convincing turnaround in our last round. Bomb now on the side of Team War is going to make its way through mid. Maybe an A push here. Once again, Lucky's going to have it, but he's not going to be on his own on statue currently, as that's going to be him and Yako working together. 3 members of Belgian Power, though, are going to be sitting on top of the site.
Strong defensive hold here. Buza trying to play both sides here and throw him off. No one pushing through just yet, though. Lots of pressure on middle map here. Maple should be feeling it shortly. They will send some players through blue here to try and answer the call around Brown. Bomb is there as well. Lucky and not in a great position to plant it just yet. They got to clear out some of the players waiting for the objective to be played. First blood does go to Team War. Buza falls. 2 straight. Metals finds another one. And now the time has come. The time has come to get this bomb down. You see the progress being made on the A site, and Metals aiming down sight, watching the closest choke point to the bomb. It's going to be Maple and Brezzy taking point here. Let's see what they can do with it. Let's see what they can work, because the flank is coming in from middle map. They have to execute quickly. Team War overwhelms them with the pinch and finds themselves at map point.
Metals has just been doing the absolute most to keep Team War into this game. I mean, finding that 2 was just huge for them to winning this round. It allowed the rest of his teams to kind of sit back, ease, create the pinch, lay the bomb down, and play that time and kill. So now as we go into our match point to the side of Team War, 5-3. Belgian Power are not down and out across the board. They're doing well. Abusa maybe a little bit of a slow start, but nothing to really write home about. Team War Metals is 10-5, dragging his team by their feet, trying to win this S&D to tie it to series 1-1. Gonna be on board with Maple here. bomb is going to sit back into their spawn just for a little bit. Team War, pay attention to your minimap. It's spread out quite a bit, a little bit of a 2-and-2 strat here on both sides. Nobody really in mid, as all of Belgium Power seem to be over onto this statue right now, just trying to get a couple of shots to connect.
Coach Magic for Team War at home alongside Cynical. They got to be doing something right here to see the consistent success from Team War on this map. They're going the distance here with Belgium Power as they find themselves at map point. They're bouncing back beautifully from their 0-3 loss earlier today. And look at that. 3 straight. Last man standing is Buza. 3 just around the corner. What can you do? Not a whole lot. Team War will take map number 2.
That was all writing. That was all writing on the back of Journey and Metals. I mean, Metals getting those first bloods consistently. That was just writing around for Team War. And then Journey, that 2-piece in the end, that was just a huge momentum push for Team War, and so important for them not only to stay alive in this series, tied up 1-1, but mental morale overall for them to finally win a map after a 3-0 and then going down 1-0. That is a huge momentum sweep for Team War.
Yeah, Team War's got to be feeling real good. I'd love to hear what the comms are like and what the vibes are like right now for Team War. If you think about the change in their roster, they've had very slow, subtle changes in their team, of course, dropping Nvidia and picking up Yako, who didn't perform a whole lot in the search and destroy here, holding just about 1 kill throughout most of the map. But the difference in their coaching and their coaching and analyst staff, right? So their coaching staff, we're seeing Nacho, who was working with them for most of the game, but now it's going to be Magic alongside the newest pickup here. And I think that we're still seeing Team War remain this consistent, cohesive team. Of course, we saw them kind of crumble and falling apart in their 0-3 loss earlier today, but kind of shaking those things off, just trying to finish out the night strong, and they're looking good so far here in the search and destroy.
I completely agree. Consistent would be something I would describe Team War up until today. Today has shaken up my morale just a little bit when it comes to them, but it's good to see them finding their footing finally on the backs of Journey and Metals. And as we head into the control now, I have a lot more hope. I have a lot of hope seeing the Team War that we usually see in controls, because again, their defense, when it is on point, is literally impenetrable. So hopefully Team War now with this momentum push is going to be able to put themselves back in this series and maybe put themselves back into, the 6 months of work that they have made to put themselves in the top contender conversation. Belgium Power, though, I don't want to say that they just had simple mistakes in that S&D. It just felt like they got picked out a lot, not to mention Metals playing just absolutely lights out on top of this game, constantly getting first blood, constantly getting 2 pieces, and just kind of ending the round all on his own. So Belgium Power, I don't want to count them out just yet, but I know this control is going to go a little bit harder for them than probably expected.
Yeah, I got to say the guys on War just look so comfortable on the map Standoff. I think every time we see them on here, they play it a very similar way, and still people just cannot stop it. They cannot figure it out. Of course, I say that as they lose in round 11 to Orbalist just a week ago, but still, the fact that they go the distance, they go so long consistently on this series, and they take people down is impressive. So getting into game number 3 here, Team War have got to be feeling a lot better about themselves. They got some wind beneath their wings, and they're certainly soaring closer to victory here in the series. Belgium, though, I think that we still saw some stellar moments from them, some teamwork that played out very well, and their gun skill, I think, is what's taking them through a lot of these engagements here, Ali. They definitely have that stellar individual prowess.
Well, I guess now I have to ask you, going into this Garrison control, we've seen Belgium Power on Garrison earlier, and they were just absolutely playing lights out. And now I'm wondering, even though it is a different game mode than what we previously saw, who you predict going in, now seeing some life coming out of Team War in that search to destroy? Do you think that will continue? Maybe do you think we'll see them kind of flip the script here and maybe take over the series? Or what are your predictions going into it?
I think a light bulb turned on. Something happened after map number 1. Team War has got it together. I think that we're going to see a composed and strong Team War for the remainder of this series. Either way that it turns out, I definitely think that Belgium Power could take it the distance, but I think that still, in the end, Team War's got it. I mean, you got Journey, who's just always in the front line and consistently a huge factor when it comes to the submachine gun pressure. You got someone that just dominates certain parts of the map. He knows where he belongs and always finds himself there, and is just always the first one to hop right into the action. I think that we're going to see that happen time and time again here as we get into Garrison control.
Absolutely. I will say I'm still favoring Belgium Power, not only because we've seen them on this map and how they can play, but once again, this roster, it just reminds me a little bit of an underdone elevate here as we get right into the action. Already we got some pressure going on to the B site. Yako looking to make his way up. He is playing very sneaky, and finally he's getting a bit of a reward as he finds one on Lenny and maybe on Maple too, as he is trying to get a couple of ticks onto the A site. B now starting to make its way onto its first tick. That's going to be Metals, kind of just sitting by himself. Belgium Power playing a little bit slow here in their spawn as they're trying to decide what to do. Number 5, that's going to be Maple as he finally pushes out, maybe gets a couple kills, but Yaka looking to come alive, and he starts at 2-1.
Starting off 2-1 is a big way to do it. Lenny, of course, on his lonesome here at Satellite. Excuse me, not on his lonesome, with just a single teammate next to him. That's Brezzy, as they start to make some progress on point A, or as they start to defend point B, with the progress continuing at point B. And it looks like that's going to conclude very quickly here as Team War close it out just that fast. No pressure coming up from Lights. Metals looking to make his way out of here, but Maple is in position to watch for the flank. Great positioning and great eye by Maple to spot that problem before it started. Still, the action is unfolding around Bricks. Journey in the front line. He finds one kill, peppering the second player in the distance. That's Maple, and he's able to connect with it. But Brezzy does follow it up with a headshot, taking him down. 2 kills, taking heads off the shoulders is Brezzy, but Yako is there for the trade. Action continues as Semtex fly into the point. Yako does have the support from Metals. Constant follow-up from Team War. They always have someone diving into the mix. Metals backs up to the objective and gets 2-pieced. Maple firing right through him is going to take him down and the player on top green, but once again, the pressure continues. Yako and Journey are already back onto the objective and continuing the progress on point A. They're almost to the conclusion of the 3rd tier, and they do it just like that. Team War, foot constantly on the gas. They take the first round of control.
I'm just sitting here with my mouth wide open. It is exactly like you said. A light bulb has turned on for Team War. Something, they got new controllers or they actually plugged them in. I don't care what it was, but they are looking completely different in this control. Not only taking that S&D, now up 1-0 in the control. Metals is continuing his streaking as he is 4-2. Yako now hitting up 5-2, something that we desperately needed out of him. And Journey is 7-3. Now we are seeing the scary roster of Team War of what could happen if they are all shooting back. Now Belgium Power is struggling a little bit as Abusa is 1-5, just getting shut down currently. They're going to need to answer here, and they need to stop momentum out of Team War quickly as Yako is 6-3.
Journey on a 4th streak. Seems like Team War just had to size up the competition before they knocked them down. They got shoved, and they're now starting to shove back. As you see, they clear them right out of the point on A. Just one player remains. That's Brezzy, of course, playing carefully and playing his life here, trying to see if he can catch someone turning the corner, but he might just get double-teamed here. Support is following up just like that. Buza right over his shoulder, a 2-piece. That's exactly what he was waiting for, and the play call rewards him with some tick progress here. Should get at least the first point before Team War answers back. They're going to be attacked from both sides, but the pressure from Green is stopped before it begins. Brezzy and Abusa still doing damage without being stopped. Journey, once again, coming from Bricks. He is going to find that major kill they needed to stop. Dump some water on those 2 players because they were turning things around for Belgium in a big way.
Buza and Brezzy definitely trying to turn things around as they stop the momentum for just a second on the side of Team War, but as soon as I say that, the foot is on the gas. Belgium Power need to make their way into either site as there's only 30 seconds on the clock. Sure, they have a ticket A, but nobody's really close enough to make anything out of that situation. 3 players of Belgium Power are going to be mid-map, forcing their way onto the B side. They will get answered by Metals, but not if he gets shut down fairly quickly right in the mid site. Yako gets shut down in mid as well. It's all going to be up to Journey. He finds 1. He finds 2. Oh my god, he should never win that gunfight. Keeps his team alive, but now B should get a tick or 2 in the way. I lied. Lenny gets taken down. Yako takes down a teammate, but that's going to be all she wrote. This round should go inside of Team War. Nobody close enough to touch the B site. 4 seconds on the clock. It's all up to Brezzy. He gets shut down. Team War up 2-0 in this garrison control.
Journey with the body blows on middle map, connecting with some stellar hip fire. That double kill is the time that they needed to close out this round. We also saw the Krieg play on Satellite making a big difference. Lenny was really the only one that was able to respond in those closing moments of the round, and Team War, they're going to come out on top again. We still gotta give credit to Buza. I think that his submachine gun presence was certainly felt. It took Journey to come through and shut him down. And Lucky coming all the way through with the zebra print. Look at this man on satellite. He was untouchable in that instance. 3 streak, I think he had before the round ended.
Journey getting that 2-piece was just the nail in the head at that point, especially for Belgian Power. Team War is just a completely different team right now, and I don't think Belgian Power knows what to do to it, because this isn't what they were playing against up until this point, and now trying to change their play style in answer to this just seems almost impossible when Journey is 13-6 shooting like that. Yako is now lighting up at 8-6. Metals is 8-4. Lucky 7-6. Just across the board, this is the Team War that we talk about. This is a Team War that's in the top contender conversation when it comes to the EU stage, and Belgian Power have to stop the bleeding here, because once Team War is on the roll, it's very, very hard to stop.
Absolutely. Textbook Team War right here. This is what they do. This 2-0 lead, nothing to them. Of course, playing against Belgian Power, they still have time to fight back, but it is looking real slow. Tied up 1-1 in the series. It will not be over just yet, but Team War in a commanding and controlling position in this control. We see Maple, the lone warrior, inside lights. He's got several Team War players, actually the entire team of Team War just around the corner, so he knows it's not safe. The pressure is going to support him from green, but he still ends up falling. And now Lenny will be the last one to come from lights with support from middle map. Everyone coming through from green were able to support him around catwalk, and now they have a commanding presence on B site. This is where Team War has to start to fight back, because Belgian Power could keep pushing them back here.
Belgian Power doing a great job hanging on by a thread here, as neither site has been taken just yet. As Yako tries to get his way in, he gets taken down by a trophy. Unfortunate situation for him. Journey does find 2, though, at 11 seconds on the clock. They're looking to take this B site. Belgian Power, they were in a very favorable situation with the clock ticking, but they got the full wipe. Now looking to give up that B site. 3 members of Belgian Power make their way over to A. Number 7, Brezi's going to try and contest this B site. A little bit of a miracle out of him as he can take down these 2 Team War players. Doesn't look like it's going to be in his favor, but he is contesting. It seems he's going to have a little bit of help from some of his teammates that rotated over from the A site. That's going to be Lenny here trying to fight down these 3 members of Team War. Very close here to see what goes down. Lenny will find one to open it up. Metals trades it out, but Brezi's going to get aggressive. Brezi does get shot down, though, but Maple cleans it up as he grabs the sub from his dead teammate. That's 3 down. Belgian Power finally put themselves on the board.
Thank Maple for the play right there, because if he didn't stop Journey, no one else was going to. Journey was about to approach 20 kills before most players in the lobby even hit 10. But Maple, picking up that submachine gun, as you put it, right there, was able to put the shots down range that they needed and just keep them off the point in those closing moments. So Belgium, they're putting 1 point up on the board here, stopping the bleeding. This Team War looked to be positioned pretty well to close out the map. And now they'll have another opportunity to do so here, but we will be looking through the perspective of Belgian Power on their offensive round.
I respected that play so much out of Belgian Power because, usually, that was just all down to communication. I want to know what those comms were like, because typically your teammates would have been like, nah, man, chalk that up. If we get wiped there, not only is that B gone, but possibly A. But instead, they trusted their teammate. They trusted that Brezi was getting that contest in, and they all rotated from the A site to help him over onto the B and keep it from getting that tick and putting themselves on the board. So huge plays and communication and chemistry out of the side of Belgian Power, but they still have a long ways to go as they are down 2-1 in the control, and not only that, they are down lives already. Team War looking to push up in the spawn, but Maple's not going to let any of that happen as he will shut down Metals, making his way up the platform.
Maple's keeping track. He keeps a head count. You are not getting behind his team without him putting some shots into you first. Of course, Journey does come through, finding two kills with some support right there. So we see Team War with the pushback, keeping the pressure up on middle map. Journey far behind, but there are still 2 players alive from the last wave. That's Yako and Metals in the mix, doing lots of damage. Players 5 and 6, Maple and Buza, close to the action. Maple falls first. He has been the juggernaut for Belgium so far. Having him fall first is certainly devastating, but Lenny and Abuza are still in the mix. They fall too. It's a full wipe now, and it's just going to be Maple on his lonesome. Now they're staggered. Team War takes out Belgium for another map win.
You said it perfectly earlier. That was textbook Team War that we have seen throughout the 6 months of our Call of Duty Challengers Elite, and now once again we are seeing switch into right now Belgium Power. They put up a good fight, but with Team War shooting like this, now it's probably almost an impossible feat going up 2-1 in the series. I'm just happy to see the revival of Team War at this point, Fox. I know you are surely relieved. I'm just happy we all weren't going crazy, because that was just something else earlier, but it's good to see that the light has switched.
Yeah, this is your Team War that has really only lost to Mavericks and Orglis and going all the way to Game 5, Round 11 with Orglis. This is your Team War that has consistently been performing within the top echelon of players in the European region for the Challengers Elite Series. And of course, as we see Season 5, Stage 5 here, coming to its conclusion, they're just showing you they got more of the same. They got a few new faces, and they're still bringing you the same force, same action. Of course, Belgium started off this series great in that Apocalypse Hardpoint, a wonderful first 2 minutes of Hardpoint, and really just 3 straight great maps in terms of individual performance from players like Maple. But we need to see a full commitment from the team. We need to see more contribution from the submachine gun players, because right now, Journey has all the cards in his hand right now, and he's dishing them out.
I feel like Belgium Power is definitely a pretty consistent team thus far as what we've seen from them. Across the board, they play very well. You can always expect Maple to be doing very, very important things on the map. But Team War, I mean, they were in the conversation for top contenders in the EU region for a reason. And now in the series, as they're lighting up, you're seeing why. And Yako, I feel like I'm seeing a completely different player. I don't know if he suddenly plugged in his controller or what. I'm not asking questions. But he suddenly is taking over a map. He's getting behind enemy lines. He's being annoying. He's actually winning the gunfights that he previously has hoped to win. So now up 2-1 in the series, my prediction flips a little bit. I'm starting to lean towards Team War a little bit as they continue to play like this and not switch up like we saw them earlier.
That's right. Team War, they hit that resurgence. They hit the regain, game number 2. They're coming right through the series with a vengeance. I'm sure getting 3-0'd earlier stung. It did not feel good. I'm sure that they were deflated by that. A team of their caliber, really just inexcusable at this stage. But really, they're showing us what they're made of here in this series, and I'm looking forward to see what they contribute to us for the rest of the week of competition. Now, Ali, Belgium Power. Can you tell me a little bit more about what we've seen from this team throughout the season so far? Because in this series right here, we're seeing them start to fall flat against the giants that are Team War.
Belgium Power, for me, they've always kind of been a bit of a middle of a pack team. I always thought the duo of Maple and Lenny was kind of required to be doing well for this team to hope to take any series. But after seeing them the past couple of weeks, they've really just flipped one on its head. I mean, every player now stands out incredibly on a map. Abusa is standing out a lot more. And Maple Lenny, I mean, they continue to do what, we've seen them do all season. But now I feel like we're seeing a lot more out of Brezzy and Abusa, as well as a little bit of a duo on their own. And Belgium Power, I see a little bit of elevate in this team and their play styles and the way that they win. And even though they're falling against the giants that are Team War, who have suddenly woken up from their slumber in our earlier series, I almost want to call them like the Walmart brand of Elevate, because they play in a similar style, they win in a similar style, and all players across the board are playing incredibly well consistently. So there's a lot of potential for this team, and I think they could be in the top contender conversation, but they have to show up a little bit more against Team War, especially because Team War was having an off day.
Need more valuable plays coming out of this Belgium team if they want to be able to topple the giants that are Team War right now in this series. They're looking to close it out with that 2-1 lead, and of course with the way the tournament's been playing out so far today, they're coming back from that 3-0 loss, as I said previously, but they are facing off against a Belgium team that does not seem to be very well suited for this competition against Team War specifically. I think that as we get closer to this hard point here, you got to expect Team War to come through confident. They're going to bounce back from that first hard point loss, and they're going to play just fine here on Moscow.
And as we hop right in, I'm favoring Team War a little bit just because of the convincing numbers across of the maps we've played previously. Already touching the point very quickly. The aggressiveness we usually see out of Belgium Power, I'm not seeing just yet. Maybe waiting for their teammates as Brezzy comes in from Escalator and gets a free pick, but Team War is looking to trade that out fairly quickly as they get the first 10 seconds of the hard point.
First bit of time, Abuser from a distance is able to stop the flank before it begins. One more player coming at you though. Screen's bloody red. They will stop him before he regens. Hill time still going to Belgium Power, putting some more points up on the board. We're approaching a lead switch here as Brezzy is going to find that first kill, but the pressure continues. You know Team War does not back off. Brezzy, of course, has to wait. He needs to be patient, get his health regen. First lead change here. His patience is rewarded as his teammates over his shoulder from Eskies and such were able to clear out the objective. One more just around the corner. Great shot is going to take him down there, but Maple is in the mix to follow it up. Yako from a power position pops right into the objective with the submachine gun, right where you want him to be. The scrap time goes to no one as most of that hard point is contested. Moving to P2, we do see Team War with the initial time once again.
As the time was a little split between both teams, Metals was huge. They're getting a couple of picks from the street side just to kind of keep Belgium Power off, to kind of keep that lead from growing. And not only that, now they've secured the early spawn, so Belgium Power is going to have something to say about that, as they really flood in through middle with no contest from the side of Team War. So now they get the clean wipe in the spawns and also some time going in their side as well. Team War have a lot of running to do as they need to cross this map to fight for this final 30 seconds. Looks like they're going to flood in through green here. Maple, though, is the last person you want staring down your sights from top apartments. He will hop out with 20 seconds left, maybe hoping to go on that rotation. Number 8, that's going to be Brezzy on street, doing a long route to the deep back of P3, which will end up being a bit of a money hill, so looking to maybe disrupt that from the back just a little bit, as nobody on the side of Team War has really gotten whiff of it just yet.
Yeah, and if you were following the action, they're following the movement of Buza specifically. He's a big part of the reason why they were able to flip and maintain that hard point, weaving his way through the enemy lines of Team War. He was able to secure great defensive kills and maintain and extend this lead here. Team War, once again, finding the initial time, are set up for another lead change. We'll have to see what the defensive positioning looks like as Lucky opens up with a big two-piece. Player on the hard point still able to hold it down. No pressure on him just yet. And as we see Team War players fall, they will spawn up so close to that hill and get right back into the mix, right back into protecting the objective. 2 players coming in from Eskies, one looking to fight at Bricks. They do win that battle, and the battle at Eskies is won as well. Escalators now taken over by Belgium as well as the hard point. Scary moment for Team War to be in. The hill time, the remaining hill time might just go to Belgium Power, and they should be getting set up for street here.
That's 4 deaths down for the side of Team War, as they're going to be spawning cross map as Belgian Power finally forced their way in, not only for the scrap time, but for new as well. Team War, they're going to have a lot of fighting to do as they push their way up street, and 2 of them are actually going to find their way into small. That's going to be Lucky and Journey looking to duo their way through the back, but unfortunately Brezzy was there and waiting. The trades do end up going out, but I'm sure the call was made to Belgian Power that there's going to be a player on their backside. Team War now going to make some pressure here through small, as all 3 players going to be there to answering the laney. They find 2 on Belgian Power, but time is still going to Belgian Power. They have about a 30-second lead now. Nobody on the point as Team War fights their way in. A very scrappy big game for both sides.
The ARs of Team War are still double negative, trailing by only 20 seconds as they take point in the hill here. Hill guy falls. No one to replace him as they both fall just that quickly. The player inside Vince is trying to jump into it as well. It's going to be Yako, not Vince, jumping through the window to defend the point here, but has to back off. It seems that Belgium are just in a better position to defend the point, and the rotation is looming as well. As Team War still trail behind by 20 seconds, you would imagine that Belgium Power, at least looking at the kill feed and the scoreboard, should have a much better lead than this.
I agree, and Yako there seems he didn't want to fight for that 8 seconds and wanted to back up to maybe help his teammates onto the P1 side. So as we go into our second set of rotations, once again, very scrappy back and forth trades as we see both Team War and Belgium Power just fighting to get some of this time to try and create some sort of lead for themselves. Yako 11 and 10, having some of the most engagements, I believe, in the game thus far. Maple playing lights out at 13 and 6. And across the board, Belgium Power is out slaying, but Team War, they're only down about a mere 10 points that they're looking to get here on P1. Not only that, that's going to be Journey looking to make his way into the back for P2 new spawns, but unfortunately he has a lot of players Belgium Power he has to fight through first. He finds one, but he's going to be answered by Maple in just a moment. He turns and he actually gets the kill, but he will get traded out. Good, lucky for him. Lucky is coming out of green though as well, and he gets the kill on Lenny in the back, so that's going to be spawns for Team War. Belgium Power though, very close, pushing through green to the hill.
And this is where Lucky could probably turn things around. That's a big, big kill right there as he was approaching triple negative in this game. He takes the player out in the back line. Now he's in the commanding power position and is also given Metals that space to claim it as for his own as well. The pressure won't stop, though. It's coming in from middle map. It's coming in right through the doors onto P2. But Lucky, once again, is in a great position to support his team. Lenny is still looking to disrupt the back line as Belgium start to spawn up on street. The pressure is is certainly felt here as they're spawning up so close to the objective alley.
Absolutely, and Abuser making his way onto the point to maybe get that scrap time. It's only 24 seconds, so you got to get on the rotation. You should have just left Lucky alone. Belgian Power looking probably to have the deep spawns across the map now, as you just see number 8 Brezzy pop up, as they now have to force their way to P3 once again. And we saw Team War get a lot of time off of this Belgian Power. I almost wish they gave up that scrap time, pushed their way to the other side of the map, and forced that team spawn in their favor and allowed Team War to get the cross spawn map. But that doesn't happen in their favor. Lenny in the back now looking to get a couple kills off spawn as nobody's able to take him down on a 2 streak, and his teammates pushing it through the front. All of Team War falls. Beautiful break for the side of Belgian Power. Only down 5 points now. Again, very scrappy back and forth as these teams have been tied up thus far.
Yeah, highly, highly impactful play from Lenny right here for this hard point. Him finding those kills in the back line and behind those Team War players was so important. And Belgium claiming their position here on the hard point, finding us another lead change here as they start to pull ahead by 10 seconds. You saw Team War was able to put themselves ahead for a little while, with the ARs of Belgium Power are just too strong. Maple and Lenny have been doing a lot of damage this game. Yako on a 2 streak. He's had a number of streaks this game. Let's see if he can extend this one further. He's got access to a trophy system, but he is being tagged up. He will need support here on the rotation.
Metals by himself for the side of Team War on this next rotation, as he's going to play his life just a little bit more, waiting for Team War to maybe make that collapse. Number 3, Yakuza is playing a bit of mid-map, maybe trying to do a very long rotation. Metals doesn't get timing on Lenny, though, as that trait goes through. And time is going to the side of Belgian Power. Once again, a lead change as Belgian Power is 154 to Team War's 140. Team War, this is probably do or die for them to get into this hill, or at least contest it a little bit. Should Belgian Power get all this time, that would put them dangerously close to the 200-point mark, and this is not the time Team War want to play a game of catch-up.
Big stop right there, but they got to take down Lenny. They do just that. Wow! Clearing them all out. A full wipe. Team War is able to turn over the hardpoint. Maple, though, one of the titans of this team, is looking to make a difference here as well, but fighting staggered and outnumbered is not going to do it on this hardpoint. The 20-second lead slowly but surely dwindling as Team War rack up, what is that, 7 kills in a row as a collective, and Journey's looking to extend it even further, making it 5 of his own before being taken down. Rotating back to middle map, Team War finds the initial time again, but Belgium is just around the corner.
Scary turn from Journey there for just a second. I'm sure Brezzy started sweating, but initial somehow going to the side of Team War. It's just Lucky in the hill, and he's managing to stay alive. 3 members of Belgian Power are looking to maybe sniff him out, but lucky for him, Team War is now in the back line. Brezzy looking to maybe make some noise behind the players of Team War. Goes in his favor as Lenny finds 2. Abuser finds the last one on the cleanup. Belgian Power now in control of this P1. Team War now have a lot of work to do, not only to play catch up and get the scrap time, they also need to make their way to the backup. Because heaven forbid Belgian Power gets that early rotation and the full 60 on that money hill. Now 16 seconds left on P1. Team War isn't looking to make the rotation just yet, as all members of Belgian Power are in back street and apartment, confused as to why there isn't a player inside of the objective just yet, as only 5 are on old, but I'm sure we're going to see Abuse rotate there soon.
Whole lot of back and forth here in this tug of war as Team War pull ahead by 10 seconds with the scrap time. Still giving Belgium Power that initial time, that initial setup onto P2. It's going to be a tough one to break, as of course Belgium, with all 4 players, they are positioned and ready and waiting for it. That's why you're seeing so many initial kills go in their favor. Yako is going to find a kill here, looking to stay alive, but being peppered and followed up. Great communication there, as Lenny is not going to let him get away. More kills going in favor, 4 straight actually from Belgium as they defend the hard point. 30 seconds remain, so they cannot win it here on this hard point, but they can get damn close. Team War, they are in trouble right now. Belgium has been in control of this game, even though it's been going back and forth. It always ends up with Belgium in the driver's seat.
Yako should have played a little bit more slippery there, as he was a little too aggressive on his own, pushing up to try and make that apartment fight go in his favor. But Team War get the scrap time. Thankfully, once again, we should be just about tied up going into our next hill. Now, the problem for that is Belgium Power is not only on rotation. Team War is the closest members are still in mid-map. They have to get a perfect wipe here if they want to take away this game. But Belgium Power is just getting free time as Team War is trying to push their way into the backside. They have one good push here, and that is all she wrote. Team War know that as well, as they are slowly making their way up to this point. They're gonna have to take down Maple first, all the way in the back. Something almost impossible, but I lied.
Oh.
2 members of Belgium Power fall. Journey gets a free kill onto Linny. Lucky finds Maple. That's exactly what Team War needed. They can now win it off this hill. Belgium Power, you needed 20 seconds. You just needed to hang on and get full wiped. One push out of them.
We're approaching another lead change here. Belgium Power stopped just shy of their victory at 250. 2 straight kills as well. The ARs are waking up. Metals has not been able to contribute a whole lot. Lucky closing up that killed KDR deficit that he's had for much of this game. A lot of it hinging off of that second attempt at P2, and since then it's been up, it's been downhill. An easy roll downhill for Team War. 20 seconds separate them from victory just about. But Belgium, they're no slouch on this map. They're no slouch in this series in Hardpoint. And we're looking at another lead change, Ali, as we come over to Street.
Abuse of falls, and Journey is in mid and able to find a kill. A huge play out of them, but Belgium Power just keeps it together. They need 10 seconds. Team War, everything's going to ride on the back of Yako. He's going to be unable to. I don't believe anyone from Team War is going to be close enough to defend this, except for maybe Metals, but he has to push and push fast. Not going to touch it in time. Belgium Power force it to a game 5, 239 to 250.
Maple and Linny, the watchful wardens. No one gets behind you. No one stays there if they do get behind you. Constantly keeping that head count, checking Yako whenever he wants to make a play. I mean, really, it was just those 2 players, the AR, shutting it down. We really saw that Lucky and Metals were having a hard time for much of the hard point. Lucky started to bring it back. Metals didn't quite seem to find his footing. And the ARs of Belgium just held it down on Street and P2, and they were able to close out this game.
The ARs were definitely struggling on the side of Team War, and usually that's when people would bring up the fact, oh, well, if the ARs, were doing well or firing on all cylinders, then the game would have gone completely different. But the thing about this here, it wasn't that the ARs weren't playing on top of their game, it was that Belgium Power was shutting them down. So Belgium Power now able to take this hard point, and they showed a lot more life, I feel like, in our last game mode, and I feel like that was them getting used to the way Team War plays now. They got a little bit caught off surprise in that S&D and that control, and going to this hard point, I feel like they were much better prepared, not to mention that final rotation. Team War, they got that money time onto that last tail, but going into P4, they just didn't have the rotation, and that's when Maple and Linny really held it down. So now as we head into our game 5, I am looking at both of these teams. I honestly have no predictions, as both of them are playing lights out. If Belgium Power is still able to shut down those ARs, we could see a very scary situation for the side of Team War.
Absolutely. I'm going to stick with my prediction and say that Team War takes it in Game 5 regardless. When it goes the distance here, I just tend to be on their side with it. I think that they'll close it out. They've been pretty consistent in that regard, I think, bringing these series so far into the end. But Belgium, they look good. 2 hard points in this series. The second one was much more of a fight than the first one. But still, like I said, they had that resurgence in map 1. Team War did, and they were able to bring it to a more competitive map. But getting into Search and Destroy, Belgium was still no slouch on Standoff either. So getting into Game 5 here, Ali, I gotta say, do you lean one way or the other? Are you sticking with making no call, making no prediction here, or do you want to go against me and you think Belgium might be able to take down War?
I'll go against you just for the storyline at this point. I love underdog stories, and like I said, I love Elevate, and Belgium Power to me once again is just like the academy version of them at this point, and I'm enjoying watching them grow and watching them play together as just a very consistent team. And going into this Game 5, I feel like if they all are playing the way that they have been playing, if they all are shooting on all cylinders, I feel like they could close it out on Team War. Once again, we just watched them shut down Team War's ARs, which is not an easy thing to do for a tank like that team. So I think there's a possibility, Fox. I want to be the devil's advocate.
Looking at Game 5 here, you gotta be fearful for the side of Team War if you're looking at the performance that we've seen so far from players like Linny and Maple. Even at times, of course, you've seen Buza really just light up the game with the submachine gun, steamrolling players at times when he's got to break the objective, when he's got to break a setup from the side of Team War. So they definitely have that going for them. Of course, coming into Search and Destroy and Express, bit of a different ball game. We're slowing things down despite the name of the map, despite the train running through the middle of it. You have to take your time. 1 life per round. This is game 5. This decides the whole series. And Ali, what's at stake here? What's at stake this week for the Challenger Elite Series?
A lot is at stake. This is our knockout. This is do or die for both of these teams today. This is their last chance, and what better way to do it than putting it at a game 5 as we come near the end of our Challenger season. Right off the bat, Rezi accidentally sticks up Yuza. Not a hot start when so much is at stake, Fox, but once again, Belgian Power, we look at the map that we're on, Express, and I want to favor Team War just on map alone, but I also think of the fear inside of me that is Maple staring down on all of these long lanes that Express gives to us, like the B site and like the train overlooks. And as we see a couple fights go down, First Blood was in the favor of Team War as Abusa falls, even though it was from a teammate. Unfortunately, Team War looking probably to capitalize on that.
Defensive positioning, still holding strong with the remaining offensive positioning, remaining strong around computers for Belgium here as Lenny is able to hop onto the bomb site. We saw Lucky, who stayed put on the opposite end of the map, just protecting B in case there was a call to reroute things. Of course, everyone sees the betrayal opening up the round, but Belgium, they're still able to hold out strong and even things up. 2 versus 2 with the bomb down, so things are more so in their favor than Team War, as Team War now has to retake. Metals is going to catch Maple with his pants down. Shots in the back will do it. Coming through the train is Lenny. Submachine gun battle here. Just above them, both of them turn their backs. Lenny is able to damage both, and he finds a headshot straight through the back of his head. Pistol out, loses the gun engagement here. There's enough time for a defuse here, just enough, I believe. And Lucky's going to hop right onto it.
Rezi doesn't get the team kill there. I don't want to say it, but that's around the side of Belgian Power. And the fact that just milliseconds away from getting that defuse, if you just played hooky just a little bit longer. But Team War, I mean, great composure out of them. A couple of slip-ups and mistakes, but to still be able to take the round over top of that, huge plays for them.
Yeah, and you see again the train play here coming in from Rezi. Submachine Gun's playground is that part of the map, especially with the noise that it makes. You hop in and out, climbing through those windows. Throw back to Black Ops 2 plays in a similar fashion. Just slowly but surely creeping your way through it, or hugging the correct corner to wait for someone else to make the mistake of creeping by you, thinking they're quiet. They got Black Ops dog tags jingling in their pockets. Just on the opposite end here, we see Metals putting some shots down range, not connecting with a whole lot, but there will be 2 players coming up their computers. They peek this. Metals does see him. They don't challenge, and still no damage on Metals. They do force him to back off here now as his teammate falls behind him with the bomb. And Computers control just remains here with Belgium as no one from Team War opts to move up. Bomb carrier Metals now as he's able to pick it up off of Lucky's body. Yakko hitting the flank here, looking to disrupt that setup that we saw around Computers. But just as a distraction, he decides to back off towards the B site. This could be a call to an audible here over to the B site here, Ali, and it should be successful.
I said Mayful was going to be scary on this map, and he shows as far as he beams Lucky from spawn, getting that first blood, as Metals was looking hopefully to do the same thing to their side, and Maple comes out on top. Now Bomb will go down on B side, but Breezy should get timing here. Brezzy does get timing, he gets the kill on Metals. Now a very scrappy gunfight. Journey was hoping to make the turn on, but doesn't go in his favor. Yakko is behind every single player though. He's only able to catch 1, so that's all of Team War gone down. Belgian Power looking to tie it up 1-1.
Belgian Power puts 1 on the board here. Team War's play to go to B site was the right call, but they weren't able to hold down Ticket Booth well enough.
Journey's scary.
Journey, he's terrifying. Like, who is this guy? How does he do it every Call of Duty title? He plays the same way successfully every single time.
Every time we watch him, he's just like, even though he still ends up getting shot down, I mean, there's those few times when he just turns and burns on somebody that he just has no business killing, and it just makes him a terrifying player because you never know when that person's going to be you. And now as we watch Mabel sitting deep in his spawn, get an eye of what he's looking at right down mid as he's all the way against the wall. Very quick A push from the side of Belgian Power, though. They are looking to lay this bomb fairly quickly, and I love this play, although Team War does find kills on 2, and again, Maple is coming off the spawn, so Lenny is by himself. He's able to find 1, though. This is something we've seen Belgium Power do, and possibly do again. Bomb down, 2v3, not impossible. Siggy has some information on Lucky, doesn't get the kill, though. Honestly, Team War could probably just hop the bomb right now and make that defuse, but not that they need to, as Lenny finally gets found out.
Maple now last alive. He has 4 in a row. Big double kill right there with the last remaining player, but Lucky will be able to take him down. And that should be a bomb defuse here with Lucky being the last remaining player on the round. Team War will find another round win. Again, if you're just tuning in, we're in the beginning stages of the final map of this series. We are in Game 5. And lots of back and forth as we've gotten to the later stages of this series. Game 4 and Game 5, it's a lot of this tug of war. And speaking of war, 3rd place in Stage 5. We've seen these guys do a whole lot in the Challenger Series thus far, placing within the top 7, top 6 slots, or most often, of course. In our last Open, at least Open number 4, this was on June 20th, we saw them make $4,000 as a team of 4, placing 4th in that tournament. They're looking to go the distance here this time around. We also saw them win a cup back in May. Number 13, $2,000 split amongst the team. Of course, $20,000 is the big bag to claim this week. Getting right back into the action. I'm taking a look at the defensive setup from Belgium Power. They're not in a great spot to stop the plant that's happening here at B, but the 2-pronged attack here on both sides of the map, player 4 and player 2, teaming up alongside one another. That's Busey and Breza attacking one side as they look for Lenny and Maple to meet them in the middle on Ticket Booth.
Resi and Abuse, make their way right back into mid. I don't know what the backtrack there was, but Yako got a free 2. Lucky's gonna find 1. I don't know what that play call was either, Fox. I can imagine the confusion on your face, as was mine. One rule in COD: don't backtrack. It's like one of the number 1 competitive rules is do not backtrack, because that's usually when you will get picked off by an enemy team. That's exactly what happened to our core Belgium Power, as Team War quickly made some clean work of them into the mid site.
All 4 players pouring through mid. They fall before the play even begins. Barely made it through Ticket Booth, as Team War is able to hold down the site with the bomb planted. And of course, so many of these players have been fighting tooth and nail for the last 6 months since our competition started around in February and March. Playing for so much here. Thousands of dollars up for grabs every week. Constant online tournaments in this virtual environment we're playing in. And of course, the nerves have got to be high as we're in Game 5 of this series, and someone's not going to make it out of this one, of course. 3 players on middle map here from Belgium. One of them is a bomb carrier, but they still got medals to deal with, and he's dealing with them.
B is not working for Belgium Power. I wish they would stick to the A site push that has been granting them so much success thus far in these rounds, save for some simple slip-ups and simple unfortunate COD timing situations. As Maple makes his way over to the A site by himself, Bomb is still kind of out in the back of their spawn. He might get timing on the medals here. As he slips right on past, he might get a free B plant here, but he will quickly be answered by Metals, who's kind of pushed up in their spawn. He gets shot in the back, but Maple should be able to clean up Yako. But the trades are through. The numbers are not there. Lenny is now stuck in a 1v2 while trying to lay this bomb. He will be able to get the plant, but very quickly, 6 and 8, that's going to be Metals and Journey quickly going to make their way over to him. Looks like he's going to make the long wrap, but they can just plant right on it. Metals is starting the defuse. I don't know if he's going to be able to turn this corner fast enough. Yep, that should be all she wrote. That's going to be the Ghost defuse, Ninja defuse onto that bomb. And Team War are now going to go up 4-1. Belgium Power have everything in their arsenal to win this S&D, but they just are not executing it properly, and they are really suffering for it.
I would have liked to see that play without the hesitation in the hallway. I would have liked to see him just go straight through. Of course, he had to check those corners when you get into that middle part of the map near Ticket Booth, which he did. But the hesitation in the hallway before it gave them enough time to go straight for the bomb in a 2-versus-1 situation and stick the defuse. Team War, of course, playing to their numbers advantage just like that, and they're going to win the 2-versus-1 situation. Now, new scenario. All 4 players up. 7 of the 8 players are at the B site, as the remaining straggler behind them will be Maple. He'll be coming up from the back line. He will have to answer to Journey, who's waiting for him to do just that. As most of the engagements are going to be going down around ticket booth here. We're looking through the perspective of Buza. He's got a great view of all of it. One slips just behind him here. We'll have to see if he ends up turning and stopping player number 7, who actually just opts to go all the way over to the A site. Diaco standing on top of the train. Buza drops prone. So no sight from... No, I don't think he has a line of sight from middle map in that position. And now it springs into action with a little bit of support on the side here, but no kills just yet.
Why did Lucky get up? That, I guess he might have gotten a play call by one of his members that he's going to get shot off the bomb, but Lucky is laid down, starting to plant. In the second that Belgium Power peeked that to shoot his leg off the site, he stands up and chows it, which forces Abusa to back up, because he's not going to be able to win that 2v1 gunfight like he was before. I mean, I guess absolutely excellent play call. Team War is doing a great job here of just abusing B site power, because Belgium Power, for some reason, have just not been able to get control of that bomb site. They do their best at the A site and they struggle on B, and Team War has really been starting to abuse that in these later rounds.
That's right. Match point. So far in this map, ticket booth, the sales have been closed, and Team War has really been dishing it to him on this part of the map. We're seeing Buza still with 2 kills now to his name as he puts a second one on the board. Wow, this is the best that Belgium has looked on this part of the map all map long. And now they get their second round win here.
It's not impossible. I mean, it's not impossible for them to win 4 more rounds in a row after a round like that. But it sure as hell is a lot of work. And if they start playing like that, it's definitely not impossible. Belgium Power, it feels like in this S&D, they've been questioning themselves a little bit more, like we've been used to seeing them do, and that's when they started to fall behind. That's when they started to struggle. So I think if they continue to play their aggressive game, if they continue to kind of put the pace into their hands, into the palm of their hands, they might be able to pull this back into their favor, but they have to do it perfectly here, as Team War is at match point and series point. This is do or die for Belgium Power. They have to do it here.
Metal's all alone with 2 players and computers just above him here. He's going to wait for some support, hopefully looking for a first blood. You do have the ARs, of course, still sat back towards their arch, towards their overpass, excuse me. Looking down range with the AR is Lucky. He's a great shot for it. Gunfights are going down on lockers here. Buza, you cannot turn that corner. Brezzy up top. Here's the gun engagement. You don't want to fight that with the height advantage. But Brezzy is going to back off, still being tagged up. They are not letting him get out of here. You got to fight this. You got to fight this. He slides through the gun engagement and gets away. The bait and switch, the trade, Team War, the communication on the site here is so great, but Belgium is still answering back. Lenny with the double kill, stellar headshot from his own overpass, and they couldn't stop him. No one had him clocked.
It's Lenny in a 1v2. Lenny at 6-5. He's already on a 3 streak. His team is asking so much of him right now. And able to connect the shots. They know exactly where he is. They're not even going to go on the hunt. He's got to have that line of sight. Oh, Journey slips right past, though. I mean, he can just play a hooky. 30 seconds on the clock. Only so much. Journey and Lucky, either they have to get really cocky and overpeak this to allow Lenny to isolate a gunfight, or they just sit and wait, and it looks like they're going to play the safe route. Lenny, you have to win. You have to win this gunfight. He's unable to do it. Team War close it out. 6-2, taking the series, game 5.
Constant misdirection in that last round from both sides, but what we saw right there in the end in the 2 versus 1 situation was Team War playing that man advantage, throwing shoulders, and really just wasting Lenny's time. And they had all the time they needed to close out the search and destroy there in game 5, a 6-2 victory. Space. We're seeing Team War in another game 5, and they come out on top.
Gee, it's the ice, man. They clutched up. Let's go. I don't know why I'm happy about that, but listen, Team War for a team that's been struggling all day. You know, again, before this series started, there was a lot of talking points going into it about what Team War needed to get right, and whether or not they've had enough time today to get everything fixed. This was very much a series just by watching where it very much felt the Team War survived this matchup. This was not a clean win. This was a close win. And Belgium Power, you know, I was watching that Hardpoint in the end, and I'm like, okay, like, oh, Belgium Power is going to bring it back. Then Team War all of a sudden we're surging on P4. I'm thinking, okay, this one's done. We go to that game 5, and it was just ice all the way through. It was clutch all the way through on the Express. Fox, I mean, you know, kind of closing thoughts on that as we take a look at the playoff bracket itself. But what were you thinking as that series was coming to an end? Did you feel like Team War just did what they had to do and scraped by to tomorrow?
I think on Express, B is closed. Ticket sales were ended. They were not letting anybody on that part of the map for much of the game. I still think that we saw stellar performances from map 1 all the way to map 5 from individual players on the side of Belgium, and some great surges of brilliance, especially from when it comes from Musa and Maple. But I don't think that we saw enough of the team as a whole really kind of kicking it into high gear to completely shut War out. Now, I don't know if that's to knock Belgium so much as it is to praise the resilience and the strength that Team War consistently more recent, I guess, not so recently consistently, but carries with them from series to series. These guys are used to having their backs against the wall and still fighting to the finish.
Yeah, they certainly are. And here is a look at the playoff bracket for tomorrow. Again, all these matches are single elimination. So you lose this, you don't get a chance to move on, but we do have a third medal match that we'll be playing, right? So winner of Mavericks and War and then Orgless and Elevate will be moving to the grand final. Everyone else basically plays for third place. But off the matches already, Team War versus Mavericks, Orgless and Elevate. That's the one that everyone needs to be watching. Yes, please tune in and check out these matches because we are crowning a champion for Season 5. But Orgless and Elevate are playing in the semifinals. The semifinals to decide who gets to the grand finals. Like, of all the matches to have, that is the one that this has all come down to. This entire season, guys, has been about Orgless and Elevate in Europe. And we get to see it in the semifinals. And I have to think whoever wins that has like a 70% chance to go all the way. Allie, looking at the bracket there, Mavericks and Team War, it's going to be a bloodbath. That's going to be an absolute bloodbath. And hopefully for Team War, they come out a little bit stronger. For Mavericks, take notes today. Take notes of what Team War did wrong. Come out prepared and ready. What do you think and look at the bracket?
I'm sure Mavericks is just crossing their fingers and hoping that Team War comes out how they did earlier today, and just hoping it's a little bit of an easier matchup than possibly what would be the War that we usually see on paper. But the Orgless and Elevate matchup, I can't say how excited I am for that one. At that point, you can't even decide a favorite between these two. You have the disgusting duo of Harry and Nasty on Orgless, and then I look at Elevate and I think of the consistency of bids. I look at Denza and Hixie together. I look at Weeman going into the S&D. That is going to be the most competitive series I think we've seen all season.
Absolutely agree. Speaking of series, let's look at the schedule because tonight we got North America coming up. We have wrapped up Europe. Elevate defeated Team War 3-0 in a very hot fashion, and then Team War sent it to a Game 5 but clutched up on Express. They beat Belgium Power 3-2. Coming up at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 Eastern, it's North America, and again, we go through this double bracket format once more. North American region winners round 2 and losers round 2. We will wait to see what those matchups are specifically, but we still send players into the playoff bracket tomorrow. So North America's time to shine is now. They will go through the same type of bracket. Fox, looking at kind of the matchups we had for North America, real quick, give me your thoughts on closing today for Europe and who you're picking going in tomorrow.
Closing thoughts for Europe, I'm looking forward to the Orgless Elevate matchup, of course, some of the two toughest teams in their region, but I'm also looking forward to see what War and Mavericks is like, right? The rematch, last time they matched up, War lost to Mavericks. I'd love to see what this battle is going to look like tomorrow in playoffs. North America should certainly shape up to be exciting too. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that one.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it. I'm going to be tuned in with everybody ready and watching, and then we'll bring you North American action tomorrow night. But you know what? We go back to the drawing board. So do the teams, and to the break we go. Thank you guys so much for watching Europe. It's been a hectic day of Call of Duty, a tremendous one at that. There have been so many standout moments and plays, and a little bit of a shaky shot here and there. But guess what? Team War survived their series against Belgium Power, and they punched their ticket to the playoff bracket tomorrow. Until then, we will have to wait till 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 Eastern to come back to North American soil and watch our teams on domestic turf duke it out and see who gets sent to the playoff bracket. We're so close to crowning a champion in both regions, but we won't know until tomorrow. Tune back in a couple hours. We'll see you then.